allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Comments from the assembly? Anyone? Okay. You have a correspondence? Minutes of the previous meeting, September 14th, regular meeting. Motion?
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
September 27th, road inspection.
Make a motion to accept it.
Motion? Second, all those in favor? Aye. September 27th, workshop.
I'll make a motion.
Motion, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
You have your treasurer's report, October 12th.
Treasurer's on Zoom, if you need something.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Is there anything she wants to let us know?
Is there anything that we need to know for the treasurer's report?
I think I transferred $50,000 today for the payroll. That was done today, which would be, it'll be coming out on Friday. So I transferred $50,000 for that. That's including all of the quarterly payroll taxes for the third quarter of this year. So that covers everything for this right now. And I also transferred $225,000 to cover the bills for this month. We had some big bills. We had the street paving project, so that's really the bulk of why we are transferring so much money for this month. And then the casino money should be coming in. Joan, I don't believe you didn't send any information yet. Have you gotten any notification of what that is for this month or for this past?
No, but I should get an email probably in the next week or two, and they'll tell us what's
Yeah,
coming.
it usually comes in, usually in the second week of the quarter ending.
Mhm.
So, other than that, everything looks good.
Okay, so I need a motion to transfer 275,000.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You have your proposed budget in front of you for 2023, so we just received this. So what I'd like to do is have everyone go through it, put their notes on it, see where we can cut, and then we should have our budget meeting come this Tuesday. Is everyone okay with Tuesday for budget? It's already scheduled. But we'll just have to submit agenda out. Jeff, you're good?
Are we switching workshops?
Yeah, that's on the agenda.
So the budget meeting will still be Tuesday?
Yes, if we switch, it's gonna be for the beginning of the year, for January.
Okay.
You're good for Tuesday?
Right, this coming Tuesday?
Yep.
Alright. How did you know it was scheduled? I didn't know.
Because we we pre-scheduled a bunch of dates. That's why I sent an email out last Tuesday to see if anybody wanted to hold the budget meeting, but we didn't have our numbers yet. So they're pre-scheduled for the whole year. So this year, we'll pick a bunch at the end of the year.
You
when we
sent
do-
that out? Okay.
Yeah, I think, no,
I know you sent it out about not having a budget meeting.
Yeah,
but
about the budget meeting.
There's a couple meetings already. I think, I don't refer, I just trying to figure out how do I know that there's a meeting next Tuesday? I didn't know that.
In January, that's already scheduled for this.
Is it?
Yeah, do you have the calendar?
The
They're
book
stamped
that
in
you
there,
gave us.
pre-stamped in the calendars.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll look.
all right, so
I'm
we'll,
all right.
About to, so.
we'll plan on next Tuesday to actually just do the budget, to go over it, okay?
Is that a public,
And is
is
that at 7 o'clock as well?
7:30,
that a public meeting?
it is. Okay, and then listed on there is the past 2 years, so we can review all that. Expense list, October 12th expense list.
That's the 18th.
I have a question for the treasurer before you continue. Sandy,
What,
she mentioned COVID money. Where, is there an equity account for it? Because we have one for COVID. Shouldn't we have one for the casino money?
No, the casino money comes in and then it goes out, we budget everything out.
Well, we
Whenever
only
money goes-
budgeted 330,000, so we should put it there until we move it out as
No,
needed,
it
so we
goes in
have
the
a,
same way real estate taxes go in, we estimate what we're gonna get from them, and that's what we get.
yeah, but it really should have it on here as a separate line item, so that people in public understand what's going on. Because even when somebody goes to the
It is on
treasurer,
there as a separate line item, it's
Where?
on there as revenue.
okay, it's not under the liabilities and equity? That's where the COVID
It's-
money is.
It isn't equity, it is an income account, it's not
Okay,
equity.
what page is it, so I can look it up?
Well, it's going to be in revenue, so it's a 300 number, and it's 355.080, and it's on the treasurer's report.
Shared.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I've been
Is there anything else, Michelle?
No, just,
Okay.
people want to know what's coming in.
Expense list.
This is budget historical.
It's on with our budget, so we know what we spent the prior year.
Anyone has any questions or concerns, I make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Okay, business, Board of Supervisors meeting for 2023. So is everyone on board with switching to a Wednesday? For just our two meetings, no other meetings for the rest of the township? Just ours, so they're same date, we don't have confusion on whether it's a Tuesday or Wednesday, it's always gonna be Wednesday. Are you okay with that? You okay with that? Paul? And Eric, you said your slot's open, that's good for you, Wednesdays? Terry, Wednesdays are better for you, okay.
So should we make all of the time 7:00, since we have the budget at 7:30, can we make it at 7 instead of 7:30?
Yeah, we'll set the budget one when we do, in January, when we do our list, or when do we do our list of days for the next year?
I think it'll be on the next.
Or the next one, okay,
Yeah.
so we can, we'll make them all 7.
Sure.
Okay, so we wanna hold, we'll make that motion next, when we do all the dates, and we'll just update that. Rescue funds appropriations, resolution 22-47.
These are bills that the board has already approved. Actually, CRM bill was paid. It's just that PSATs, they want us to do a resolution when it's expended and then we can track it.
I'll make a motion for resolution 2022-47.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Accrual account appropriations, resolution 22-48.
Our treasurer and I talked about accrual account, expenditures, and we're gonna do the same that we do with rescue funds, and do a resolution anytime we use any funds from the accrual account. So if the board's okay with that, I'll start doing that for any money that comes out of the accrual fund. So our winter banners, that was the 250th anniversary funds in the accrual account,
Okay.
so that's what this is for.
We did take that for the 250th.
I'll make the motion to accept resolution 2022-48.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor? Act 57 of 2022 property tax penalty waiver provisions, resolution 22-49. Is this the same?
Eric's gonna help with this one.
This is a resolution that implements Act 57 of 2022 this year. Legislature enacted Act 57. It allows your tax collector to waive certain penalties associated with the under certain conditions that are set forth. So this essentially simply tracks the law as it now stands. So every township is essentially required to enact a resolution to implement Act 57. So that's what they're doing. The act becomes effective January 1st, 2023. So everybody has this window between now and the end of the year to enact these resolutions. So it essentially allows your tax collector, if you want me to read it, shall for tax years beginning on or after 2023 grant a request to waive additional charges for real estate taxes if the taxpayer does all of the following: provides a waiver request on a form provided by the state, attests that the tax notice was not received, and then 3, provides the tax collector in possession of the claim with one of the following: copy of the deed showing the transfer of the property tax, copy of the title, and then 4, pays the face value of the tax notice for the real estate tax with the waiver. So they're paying the tax, they're requesting the waiver of the penalty, and it's all done in accordance with Act 57.
And this is just for mobile homes and manufactured housing.
Or for real property. You see the qualifying events section? Number 1 is for real property, 2 is for mobile homes, which would not be real property. That's why it's listed separately. The additional charge would be, what would be waived would be the interest fee or penalty. It would not be the tax itself.
And there's a bunch of steps they have to go through in order to qualify for that waiver.
Correct.
And this is countywide,
It is statewide,
statewide.
being administered by the Department of Community and Economic Development.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2022-49.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Sheds Unlimited. Road closure.
So, I think Steve was gonna intend to discuss this if need be. I know the chief and I had met with Keith, who was not unavailable at the time that we had the initial discussion, but materials have been putting us off a little bit. They submitted their plan. I mean, it's a rough sketch of what they plan on doing. I don't think it's all that bad. I mean, it's what we discussed. The only question I have, and I think we can kind of just address it now and have to go through it with Steve, is at a meeting is, in his detours, he references, it's basically going from Heritage Drive to South Twin Valley, Hemlock to Timber, to go around Valley when that section is closed. Back up a little bit here, the water line as it comes down before it crosses into the property, they're gonna be using it as a road enough that they just think it's safer to close it down when they have to do that stretch. Even when they're connecting on the, Valley Palms Drive, they see there's gonna be enough of a traffic issue, they wanted to just close it while they're doing it. So I think it's gonna be a few days as opposed to like the 1-2 days they thought. So they're pushing the traffic down that way. I think that's the right way to go when they close that. I'm gonna ask them for an extra no truck at Mill and Valley, just so that people going north on, cars can go north on Mill there, but I think we gotta really push no trucks. They mentioned for Morgantown, Business Park on their signs. I'm asking just as, from the board, do you think that's appropriate, or should it just be strictly referencing Valley Road as being closed? I think they're doing it for trucks that might be trying to get back to the industrial park and in that area, but I don't know if that's necessarily.
There's no good way for trucks to get in
Well,
there.
I would just say Valley Road because everybody uses Valley Road,
Yeah,
not just the industrial park. I mean, you got
feel like
Plumwood, you got Millstream, you got all them people, a lot of them going over to Walmart over.
I feel like it's a lot of language to be putting on a sign for everybody to try to read real quick, where it should just be Valley Road closed ahead, use this detour. But I didn't, if you guys would agree with that language, I didn't wanna.
But I think we need to notify the businesses that the trucks need to go the other way because we can't have them all going up Mill Road.
We spoke to them about notifying the businesses back there, the Valley Ponds development, because they're gonna be really affected when they're tying in at their entrance, so.
Now, they're waiting for the meter pit,
Yeah, they're back ordered on.
so this
materials.
late in the game, can we coordinate that with like the school being off for Thanksgiving break?
I think we could ask.
I mean, it would make sense to, we don't have to deal with the school buses, you're only talking a day or two, right?
What are
Is that
they,
they're
do
saying?
you know what they're off? What the
No,
school's
I
off?
don't, but I'm just thinking, I know,
Thursday, Friday, actually.
Thursday, Friday,
Yeah.
Monday.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's worth
yeah, they
asking.
probably are not gonna work with the holiday.
Honestly,
well,
their
no,
schedule, I
sometimes
know
when you
it's-
do road work, you gotta.
Do what you gotta do.
But that way you don't have to detour the buses.
we can ask them. I don't know what their schedule is. They haven't really gotten back to us.
Well,
since they
find
sent it
out
back
how
to
long
us.
for that meter pit. I
But,
mean, if it's gonna be a month, then you might as well just wait till that, so we can at least
okay,
take that into consideration.
I don't necessarily know if Steve has to come in here and review this. We just wanted him to give notice so that you guys were aware of what the detour is. Just talking about it now, I don't think he
As
has
long
to
as the
come in and go
businesses
through
get
this.
notified in writing and that sign says road closed.
Yeah.
And then, of course, or detour, no, it would be closed.
Do we have that? Because what do we need to give them? A week, 2 weeks notice, what?
We were saying 2 weeks at our
We were
mission
looking for a
meeting.
2-week notice, so we can get the flyers out to each business. I've already talked to the school bus companies already, so they kinda have an idea what's gonna happen. But again, it's gonna major impact, because Valley Ponds, they're not gonna be able to come out. So they're all gonna have to go out the lower end too.
So we're gonna put a big sign
So
up
this
for
is
them.
gonna
Well,
be
we have our,
to-
we have our
Yeah.
light sign, we just gotta figure out how to use it, right?
Sending letters to that
And we
developer.
got that.
I think-
going up on it.
I think they're gonna notify the HOAs, but internally, they're gonna have signs that close it off at the end. But that should be enough, but I think we're
Well,
gonna,
once we have a date, we'll be sure it's 2 weeks out, and we'll post those signs flashing with dates saying it's gonna be closed.
yeah, internally in there,
Detours.
I think,
Yeah.
once they get below that intersection too, I think the detour will stay. But at least the local traffic will know they can kinda get around it without having to go all the way around. It's really.
With
the
all these
trucks.
mailings and stuff, that's on Steve's dime, right? It's not on our dime.
Yeah, yeah. And I think with the HOAs and stuff, you can notify.
I've already talked to the
It'd be good.
president of the HOA, so.
Yeah, so we still have time, but at least it saves him from coming in to talk about it.
Was there any more talk about opening overnight with plates or?
Not from when we spoke with him, no. There really
I don't
hasn't
think
been
that's
any.
gonna happen, it's too deep.
Yeah.
Your trench is gonna be too wide to put plates on it.
Well, I mean, they're gonna be running along the road.
They'll be
They're
on the
gonna be
edge.
crossing the road.
And then
at
they have to
some point,
cross.
too.
Yeah, but I mean, they're saying 2 days, I'm thinking one day to take it down the road, and then the second day to go across the road, they could probably put plates on enough to open up at night.
The only way they're gonna be able to put plates on it, if I remember right, I remember him saying that it's somewhere around 13 to 15 feet deep.
What, right?
At his
I don't know if
property,
it's-
I'm pretty sure that's, I
It
remember
might
him
be,
saying
I don't
that.
remember the depth of it.
I think they were also concerned about rock too, if I remember.
And rock.
Rock.
So if that's the case, they'd have to double
Oh,
stack,
they're gonna hit rock.
Yeah,
they'd have to double stack trench box and then put a steel plate to maintain a ditch wide enough for a plate. I don't see it happening.
Well, if it's 13 feet deep, you don't wanna put a plate on it.
We'll coordinate with them, but I don't think it has to come back here. I'll just keep everybody up on when it's coming, so.
Okay, all right. South Twin
Just
Valley
all-
Road.
To go back, just make sure we notify our residents. I don't want any complaints.
And businesses.
Yeah, I mean, whenever
I'm
we
gonna
do
try
it,
and get it out
I can
as wide and as far as we can.
they're gonna have a week where they have signs saying to be closed such and such dates too, that they have to have that up, so.
South Twin Valley Road. Right away. Where do we,
No further.
No.
Okay.
Climber Hill Road.
Speaking, I have a question on South Plum Valley Road. Did anybody look into, eminent domain on widening the rest of that all the way down to 23, so we don't have a bottleneck situation, so to speak, that it narrows down real quick on somebody? So we can take part of that field, just if it's literally
Yeah, I
8,
think that's a
10
legal
feet.
question or an engineering question.
When at the last meeting, we brought that up, and he was gonna talk to the farmer.
Yeah, I didn't reach out to them to see if there was any.
Are we 100% sure they're widening that bridge?
They're widening it, they're definitely widening it for the turnpike. what the design is for the actual bridge on top and the layout, I have no idea. I've never seen.
They're not
anything.
widening the deck width?
I really don't know.
Going
I'd
through-
almost think that they are though, but
I would
if
think
we
so.
decide
Can we find
to
out?
do a truck route though, but Eric, on your end, can you find out with agriculture preservation, how that works when it comes to a right of way with the road?
I've asked the different engineering firms that I've talked to about, they've given me schedule and an idea of where things land on what they're, but when I ask for plans, I'm still hearing crickets, just, we'll get back to you. They're just, I'm guessing they're talking to the turnpike and no one's really jumping in, sending those out
But
yet.
I think the biggest concern is gonna be down at the valley there where that pipe crosses. Right?
For us, yes.
We're almost gonna have to favor more of the east side than the west side there, right?
You're gonna have to pick a side, yeah. The right of way is, the way I understand it, is completely to the east, so the edge of the road is the edge, and there's more established right of way.
Well, what are
on
we
the west
thinking,
side.
33?
Well, I think right now it's 33, but there's that
Or it's not,
coordination
that's
with
not
Singer.
33, is it?
No, he's talking, he's
No, no,
he's
what-
talking
what-
right away, you're
what-
talking
how
asphalt.
wide are we looking to make a truck route, a decent truck route, 33?
You're talking about the width when it crosses the bridge there.
Well, let's just say
above
we
the
wanna
general.
widen our road, and what I'm trying to get at is
You wanna
currently,
release
right
it.
now, what is our current right of way, and what it would take to get to our 33 foot if we have to favor one side or the other?
Yeah.
We almost have to draw something up so that Eric knows how to go after, say, okay, we need to go onto Kurtz's property 5 feet or 3 feet, you know, I mean, it could be,
You'd want at least the 12-foot lanes, and if you can get a 4-foot shoulder in there, that's what you want, ideally, for the road. I think when you get to your intersections, like for Heritage, that's a different animal, but for that
and we're only
stretch,
talking
it's a
about
straight
Heritage
stretch,
Drive
that's what
down
you
to
want.
Singer, and we're only talking that stretch right there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Current lanes, put them together.
yeah, so 32, 33, whatever you wanna call it, but that ideally for what you have as a paved road, that would be the best thing.
If you're gonna widen that road, wouldn't you take it all the way up to 23 to the traffic light?
No,
Well, no, that's where we're running the problem, because the telephone poles and the houses
We
between,
want them coming in that way.
between Heritage all the way up to Twin
We
Valley,
want
up
them
to
going
Main
out-
Street.
we
That's
want
why
them-
we want them coming out Heritage on Twin Valley.
yeah.
Okay.
We wanna stop them from going all the way out to the light there.
There's no room
I
for
have
them to
no
make a
problem
turn.
with that, that's, and I agree, going in towards Walmart makes sense. But I know the problem with the roadway there and the lights, that's why I'm asking, that's all.
Yeah,
So are we
we,
gonna bring that up under road crew, or we wanna talk about that now? Is there a situation where we need to fix something now?
Well, that was a complaint that we got from Kurtz, if you're going east on Main Street off of Twin Valley South, they're running up over the curb on those property.
Okay, but
Yeah.
what about the light?
And then there's the light, the traffic signal standard that gets struck
That's all
regular.
okay.
And we're back to that road inspection discussion about at least trying to secure an easement from the property owner to be able to build a new one back a little further. So we need a little more.
How do we go about doing that? I mean, we wanna fix that right away, 'cause it's an issue.
If it gets knocked down tomorrow, it'd be nice to have the easement in place, at least then we can start reconstructing and moving it back.
So is there anything holding us back from moving forward with that?
Would it make sense doing both sides?
I would while I was at it, there's gonna be some.
Because how many times they go in, they took out the crosswalk sign when they.
That's the one we wanna take on the west side.
Okay, so.
I think there's gotta be, to your question on what's moving forward, I think we gotta find out exactly what the right of ways are.
Okay.
There's gotta be that research is what we're.
Okay, so you can get that information, correct? And if we get that to Eric, then we can move forward on checking on.
I mean, I agree with you, I mean, if we can go all the way out, it would be nice to do that, but I still would like for the truck traffic to
Right,
go.
but-
And I have no argument with the
Yeah.
traffic.
I just know when we looked at
The
it once
signs will up,
before,
we still need to fix what's
when we
damaged
looked at it
now.
once before, I think the right of way favored the west side if you're going down.
The
And
right
that
of
went
way,
right through all the yards. Remember the
That's-
telephone poles were there in the yards?
I remember discussing that, I don't remember.
And I remember we only had a very minimal on the east side.
correct.
Yes.
We are maxed on the east
So
side.
that's why we need to
Okay.
figure out exactly how we can do that. Because if we want to do that, we'd have to go to the east side, and then you're talking about agriculture code.
All right,
Well,
well,
and that's why
for
I
now,
asked
we'll
the
just
question.
try to get these moved or pushed back.
have
and then work
anything.
on the bottom part of the road, if we have wider and use a truck route.
So
Only
Scott,
what's in the traffic signal diagram, and that's about it.
Okay, so are we good with moving forward with that?
Absolutely.
Just go to a pretty picture of that.
Can we do Plumwood Hill Road extension before on Plumwood Hill Road extension? Any updates on that, or what are we doing?
I don't, I know there was talks for years, it seemed like that
Well, last I
stretch in
talked,
the back of
I'll cut you off here. The only reason I'm
Yeah.
gonna say that is that I know Gary McEwen, I saw him at the football game at Twin Valley, and he is supposed to get some documentation over to you from the gas company.
That's right, that's where we're at.
So there is a gas easement through there, and he was gonna try to get that information to us. So if he didn't send it to you, maybe
I
do a
haven't-
follow-up with him to find out.
Yeah, he's, there's wherever that gas easement is, he's curious of how that got through the ag preservation area. And if so, what's that read and is that an option? Short of that, I don't know if there was the back of Pycroft, but there may be more knowledge here of where that went in the past than I'm aware of.
Well, I think with the
I
amount
thought
of
it
rock
was
that they
just-
have up there, I
That's
think
crazy.
that's gonna be
I thought it was just a rock and just the grades in general and how to squeeze it in.
In like the next 2 weeks or so, can you reach out to Gary and find out about that? It's
Yeah.
at least the 10th.
Yeah, yeah. If he has something, I should be able to.
Twin Valley Road Signal timings plan for approval.
So there was a letter back from PennDOT, they've gone ahead and revised it and given, quite a few seconds, I think it was almost 10 seconds to the left turn to go north Twin Valley during like the school timing, to try to get ahead of this. We've looked through it, it's all right, at this point, if the township still wants to move ahead with that, then they just, I don't know who usually signs those diagrams. They have to sign it electronically now, but you can sign that and you can move forward, but unless you have anything else you wanted to see on it.
What's the cost gonna be? Do we have a cost?
Well, that's, we kicked it off to PennDOT to do it, and they made the changes. I mean, our time was putting the letters together back and forth with PennDOT, so an hour, 2 hours maybe, something.
You got his time and then getting CMI out to do the reprogramming, which they would probably do at their fall inspection, which would be coming up here November, December.
Is that part of their annual thing, or do we have to bring them out special for this?
I would talk to Frank. At this point, I wouldn't bring them out specifically to do
In
that,
the fall.
but when they come to do the preventive maintenance inspection,
Well, I mean, that's definitely congested when school lets out, so I mean, I'm all for updating it. We haven't updated it in a long time, so.
So they're due any time, right? I mean,
I believe it was March when they did the last, so
Oh, really?
6 months from there. So it's
okay.
it's in the near future.
To your question about cost, if it's a smaller change and PennDOT can just go ahead and do it, and it doesn't affect their roads too much, they'll do that, it's just a matter of us requesting it and then updating it, finding the diagram, to keep it minimal, and it's not.
Well, I say cost, cause we have the light, we pay for the light,
So that, to get that, it's a small cost there for just the coordination, but then CMI has to change it, that's it.
Okay. I mean, I say we move forward.
Do we need a motion?
Well, that's already approved.
Well,
We need to get prices, I guess, first, don't we?
Well, no, I mean, it's just a cost to them, chances are CMI, it's
No,
gonna be
it's-
minimal.
They're changing the signal diagram, when they come in the next time to just change that timing, they're just reprogramming it to what the
Right,
new
that's
Yeah,
timing is.
what
it's,
Out
it's
there.
just general maintenance.
I mean, I doubt
Maybe an
it's
hour
gonna be
more.
$100, $200
Yeah.
more.
So you should make a motion to authorize the signature on the, plan.
That's good.
Have a motion, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Stormwater drainage updates, Rock Ridge, consider alternative stormwater discharge solution.
Struggling a little bit with the coordination for the neighbor there, but, I think, not the neighbor where the water's going, just the other neighbor. We have to have them sign off on that, but if we can get that signature taken care of, Metz, who is the other property owner, has really agreed to it. It just has to get, I gotta get that. You can't just pick up the phone and call him, he doesn't have a phone or an email, so we're going by letter.
Okay. 91 Broad Axe Pass stormwater complaint.
Still, we had a chance to get out, look at it, and I know the letter came in, looking at that and the video, we're just evaluating, it's a matter of just getting everything together and putting it in the report and suggestions to the board.
And that's something you think you guys can possibly do?
We've discussed it.
So we're waiting, once we get his report, then we'll move forward and discussing what our options are. Stormwater driveway non-compliance.
Are you aware that there's a large swale running from behind Keith's house down along my neighbor's property, that you could actually hook into? I think it runs to the retention pond.
I was not looking at that, I was looking at, it seemed like the comments, questions you had in the videos there was really on, Broad Axe, and I was pretty focused on that water that was coming down. So I was not looking at another swale that goes through the other properties.
Okay.
What she's saying is there's a swale that runs down between Settlers and Broad Axe and, up by Dennis's, it runs down the back there. And she's asking if we could tie into that swale to run the water. Am I correct? That's
Would
what
that
you're
be running
asking?
water uphill?
Well, it would
No,
make
no,
it
it's
down
down.
Is
there.
it down?
It's downhill. It is downhill.
So it's
Because
not,
you walk down.
it's not the one
from Dennis's.
to the left of your driveway if you're coming out, it's the one over further.
Behind Keith's house.
Right, when we were out there, if we directed behind your shed over by where we talked about past your septic system there, it will go down to that swale. You follow what I'm saying? It will make it down there because everything drops off on the backside of your property down to that swale. So what we talked about was just diverting it around so it doesn't go into your driveway and into your garage.
It might be a shorter run if you go to the swale directly, rather than having it go all the way back past the cement.
What I was looking at was everything that was per the plans and within the right of way where the township really could do the work. And when I was looking at it, I wasn't going through the properties either, just because without obtaining
Right.
Authorization to
We're
kind of
sticking
go
to
into the property or
our
even
right-of-way.
do anything, that we're kind of limited to the right of way. So that's how I was approaching this and looking at it. But yeah, that swale, I can't say there's, I didn't want to make a recommendation where it really didn't have the ability to say that this could happen without approval.
What were you looking at? The swale running along the road?
No, what
The
we
one
talked
going
about is
past the,
I was looking at the stormwater from Broad Axe
just cutting the
and how
swale
that comes down towards your driveway.
to get it past your
That
shed.
area, that's really, it seemed like the video, that's where you were looking at and
I understand that.
talking about that water. That's why I was looking at that water beyond the right of way and Broad Axe and where that water is coming from. I know there's all water sheet flowing down the hill, but I don't really have an ability to kind of just walk through the properties and figure out where that's coming from or how that's working.
Right,
But-
that's what I'm saying,
you
then
can come along
say,
and
you
talk to
do
me
this,
anytime.
this will probably work.
And I was over, yeah,
Contract,
it's been a little while, but,
Yeah, right, so.
the improvements on the property, that is beyond what I'm really looking at. I'm looking at as the public improvements and how that can happen.
Because.
I'm not saying that there's not other considerations to be had here, and I think there has been talk between
say, I
With the
think
right
you
to
need
do
that
it
as
right
part
away.
of
You
it.
know as well as I do, the problem's not in the right of way.
Okay, yes.
I was just for clarification for Ann, that I was looking at the right of way. The water coming down Broad Axe, where anything within the right of way and how that affects the driveway. And really, I think in the video that you had, that was the focus as well. So if any water that may be getting to the property outside of that right of way, that was kind of out of the purview of what I was looking at.
Right, because we deal with the contract.
That's how I was approaching it, how I'm looking at it, and how I would be writing up a recommendation. Not saying that there's,
Can everybody get on the same page and look at this, we discussed the swale running from Broad Axe along the property line
yep,
and going past, can we all get on the same page with that and move forward?
I think that's what I was looking at. That sums up what I was looking at. If there's anything from Keith's property or the other swales coming down through the properties, that's kind of, that's, in my opinion, that's beyond where the township can just say, we can do improvements here. That takes coordination with the residents and approvals for entering properties and almost going beyond what the intent of the
What kind of timeline are you
drainage.
looking at? I mean, is it gonna be 2 years from now?
I was hoping to have it this meeting, but I just did not get to finalize everything and put it into a single report to issue it. Easily within, if it stays with what I was expecting the report to be, like a week or 2 weeks from now. But it depends on where we go with it from here after this conversation, but I still think my report was to look at the right-of-way, the township improvements that could be made to change anything or improve anything if it could be. Beyond that, I wasn't gonna make suggestions of, well, you could do these improvements on private property.
There, you're gonna wanna hire a contractor to come in, because we can't be responsible for the improvements on your property.
It's your water coming off of your road that's causing the problem.
And everybody has issues with water, pretty much. I don't know of anyone, I mean, we can't go out and go on everyone's property and reroute water for them. That's why we have our right-of-ways. We handle what's in the right-of-way, and we'll work with you, and if you do have someone come in here with you, and they wanna extend from our right-of-way down to get it on your property where it needs to go,
Well, let's get to that point.
okay, so
Get to
we'll
that
let him
point.
finish what's in the right-of-way and look at that, and then from there, we'll see where, it needs to go. Okay? All right. Where are we at? 371
J.
Swamp Road?
Yeah.
Okay, 371 Swamp Road. What are we doing then? Non-compliance?
I think we're waiting for quotes
Okay.
or something to.
All right.
We had the one quote, I don't know who was coordinating with the other one.
I do, I got it right here in front of me, it came late this afternoon,
Yeah.
and when I come in is when I looked. I don't have the other one in front of me now. Do you have the existing quote?
That was, whenever you received it, was just a $3,000,
Well,
whether or
this
not
one-
that.
This one's more. How do you wanna handle that? Send it off to workshop, you want?
Why don't you
We're gonna need to
So
see
we
the
don't want
quotes.
the chance to
give
look
the,
at them.
give the board the two quotes side by
Yeah,
side,
just-
make sure the old one is still effective, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's a matter
And
if
I'll
they'll
put it on the
hold it.
workshop.
That quote came 3 months ago at least, so I don't know if they're gonna hold that. Hopefully.
Land development plan updates, 3001, 3007 Main Street subdivision, reaffirmed plans and sign.
That was just a minor subdivision down the road. Is that complete?
It was already approved by the board, and their plans are in the back, they did an electronic submission for you to review.
Yep.
And so,
So you
Yeah, I had
review
no-
them?
Yeah, I have no concerns with those.
Okay. So we're just reaffirming what we've already approved
and then signatures
and
and
signing.
please. Rob Coleman.
Okay, so we need a motion for this, we already approved them.
So you do need a motion.
Okay, so we need a motion to,
I make the motion.
Second.
motion and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
XTL, I need the updates.
Meeting with them tomorrow afternoon, to try to figure out how they're gonna clean up that site.
Okay.
But it does seem like their contractor, engineer, and the owner are on our board.
Okay, any update, anybody wanna give any information on that?
Well, I know I talked to Berg, and the total's like $25,000 that they're outstanding, so nothing's gonna be done there until they're square.
That's between you and Bert, but,
They're a part of the meeting, so.
okay,
Yeah,
all right.
but it's good to hear
What's
that
report status?
the last letter was issued that to him, unfortunately, it was yesterday, but it was issued to him. I don't know if there's any other step than that to be taken.
I think we need to, someone needs to follow up, give them a deadline to respond to that letter that you just issued. So that we can move
There
this
wasn't a
forward.
date in the letter?
I don't think there was a date in the letter, so do you mind sending a follow-up email asking him to respond within 30 days to your letter?
Is there any way to respond in less than that?
Yeah, I mean, how long are we gonna drag this out?
Well, any 20 days, 15 days?
I'm only thinking just to
the
make
May
sure it's
deadline.
just before the next meeting at max.
Sure, so that meeting is gonna be the 9th.
That's the only reason I was pulling that way, just to get into the meeting.
Would be the 8th, or
And this is all in regards to the wall, correct?
Yeah, and then.
And lights and wall.
The cleanup, the cleanup items he has there for the site.
Why
He
don't you
did most of it, but it's just,
Why don't you tell him to respond like within 20 days, that would give him, make him respond within, that would be, give you about a week to consider any response before November 9th.
okay.
Just to keep him moving.
So he's gotta clean up silt sock, fence, all
Yeah,
that.
basically, the wall is just not, the wall does not meet what his engineer even recommended from before now, and there's just cleanup all around the wall. Not a lot, but cleanup items.
Now, who does that? Do you do that, or do you do that, Terry? When it comes to cleaning up all the stuff, like the fence and stuff, and silt sock, and,
I think it's still tied to the land development plan where,
Yeah,
okay,
or on that end of it. I think the fence he issued the notice of violation for it, just not what was to be there, but that's kind of tied to.
and what are we asking of him? We're asking him for him to get another engineer to sign off on that wall, the fence, I mean, what?
No, actually, what we're asking, the wood fence that's up is
Wood
not
fence.
permitted. That needs to come down. You should install a chain link fence that's part of the land development plan. That's what you should do. And do the lights and the other things that are in the land development plan that he still has to correct. That's what he should do.
follow through what's on the plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Fall road inspection, did you have something else? Fall road inspection, updates, follow-ups, Morgan Way stormwater matter.
That's gonna, we're gonna tie that into discussing with them quite a few items. We just need to sit with, Morgan Corp and go over that, and I think,
Brian McCafferty,
yeah, Paul, you said you wanna sit on that one, yeah,
Okay.
just let me know.
I will.
Valley Road traffic study options. Anything on that?
Not sure what that one is.
I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
Valley Road study options?
Twin Valley study. About
I
Valley.
have to look at my minutes. Let me see real quick.
Yeah, I thought that was Twin Valley.
What would that be?
Well, no, we did talk about that, I think, with truck traffic.
On Twin Valley Road.
No, on,
No,
on
Valley.
Valley,
Oh,
Valley.
Let me see. Yeah, the impact on Elverson Road and Joanna. You could discuss maybe a traffic study done in that area.
yeah, because of the trucks going down Elvers Road,
More and
Joanna
more
Road.
trucks, that's right.
So it's Joanna Road, not Valley Road?
Yeah, it's Valley.
We talked about it today's meeting. Cause I'm the one who brought up, I'm seeing more and more tractor trailers going up Twin Valley Road. And they're going down Elverson and
So it
Joanna.
should be Twin Valley
It
Road.
should be Joanna Road, not Valley Road then.
Yes.
If we wanna do, we should look at restricted.
Well, it was North Twin Valley, Elverson and Joanna.
Right,
What we
but
discussed.
not Valley Road.
Right.
That's,
Alright, so we're in the process of seeing if we get a study done, or is that, okay.
That's right, well, we did talk about Joanna, about putting no trucks on Joanna because it's so windy and
Yeah.
narrow.
Yes.
And that road is beat.
You get a lot of,
There's no
there is a
base.
lot of trucks there too.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about putting your thing up on one of this, and it'll monitor trucks too, we said, right? We can find out how many trucks are actually going down there.
Okay, so we're working on that. Then North Twin Valley Road drainage matter.
I think that's the complaint from the, isn't that the corner of the property complaint?
No, it's further down. This is the pipe we're putting in the
Oh, this,
school.
the school. Yeah, that basically, there's, working on trying to get a plan together and
Okay,
coordinate that.
still working on it, okay. No parking ordinance, comparison of ordinance and deed info.
I've secured the information, it's gotta be distributed for the board to look at.
Okay. Route 23 and Twin Valley Road South pothole matter.
Left Twin Valley Road South, I put some macadam in that the other day to try to dry that up. Could add some stone at some other point.
And then truck traffic study.
I think that ties into the right of way that we're trying to get,
Okay.
you know, kind of.
Detention pond maintenance notice, draft letter.
It's under, development. And, I think I need a meeting with Keith and probably Scott, whoever has the information on
Yes.
lots of things. I can meet as early as tomorrow or Friday. If you guys are around to knock this out.
Tomorrow then.
Is that good? Tomorrow? Good. So we'll move that forward.
Okay, Plumwood Road, pond maintenance.
That's in those, that's been determined, it's more than likely part of the HOA's agreement. We just I have to get that information to Scott, and
Okay.
I'll bring it to that meeting tomorrow with Eric.
Library book drop project update. You know anything about that?
That's a cement project, they're asking us to pour a cement pad to move the book drops away from the entryway.
See any issues?
I don't have any issues with it other than I was hoping to get a metered concrete truck in here. I've got 5 or 6 concrete projects, and at this point I don't have a time frame on when it was gonna happen.
Okay, do we need an estimated price, or, I mean, to move forward when you're ready, when you have the other projects going?
The project in a whole is not gonna cost us $1,000.
Oh, so
It's
we
just,
don't need,
it's,
okay.
I have several small concrete jobs and I'd like to get them all ready and then just bring it up.
And you won't have an issue with him moving forward when he gets the concrete, just to pour those pads? Weeds violation notice update.
Citation was submitted, we're waiting to hear when the hearing will be.
Okay. And that is for the corner pot property up here we're talking about?
Correct.
Okay. 2861 Main Street complaint form.
Yeah, I had sent an email to Carnarvon Lancaster, and Terry Miller from Carnarvon Lancaster responded back and said he's willing to meet to figure out how we can try to respond to the complaint. He has not offered a date to get together yet, but he wanted to research, because he said that they had done something in the past as far as some sort of enforcement there, and I'm not sure.
He'll get back to us after he researches this?
Yes.
Okay.
He's gonna get back to me to schedule a meeting to get together.
I talked to Terry Martin this morning.
Mhm.
Terry Martin turned it over to their attorney
Mhm.
and recommended that we have Eric be involved for our end to cover our side, so that they could at least discuss what they're planning on doing. And they do not have the Boca code either, so that they're kind of limited, but they're gonna take a more proactive to try to do something there.
But your guy said they did stuff in the past, but he's gonna check on to see
He
what
was-
that was.
He was gonna see what they did and then schedule a meeting of the
Is that the
township.
codes enforcement officer?
No, that's one supervisor.
I think he said Miller and Matt Martin.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I talked to
Okay.
Terry Martin
Okay.
today, and Terry said that they have already called their attorney and asked me to bring the light tonight. Do we wanna get Eric involved, at least have a conversation to see where we can make, or do what we need to do with this place to resolve it?
No,
So-
Eric, can you answer, how does that work, since only like, say, a quarter of that, not even a quarter of it's in our township? And 3/4 is in their township.
It's like 1.5, so it used to be a hotel, and 1.5 of the rooms, I believe it is.
It's only
in
the
our
end,
township.
right next, the ones you can see right on 176, those are ours, just
Yeah,
at the
right.
end of that building.
the issue is the
Taxes are paid to.
are paid to Carnarvon
I
Burks.
think we're gonna have to
The
have.
entire taxes, so that's how they got a liquor
Yeah, I don't
license.
think they.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So I think we need to have Eric meet with them.
That way,
So we can know where
Yeah,
we're
we'll
going.
know where it's coordinated meeting, and from our end, obviously Terry needs to be involved in that. And I think me, their attorney, and their codes guy, is there a liaison from the board that wants to participate at that meeting, or can we just run with that and report back?
I would say run a report back, because
So we'll-
I'm not available.
Okay, so we'll follow up then and get the board.
And you have a copy of the complaint, correct?
And if you need somebody, I'm around.
I was gonna say the same thing.
And
I'm
then the
available.
hired guns.
Comcast services proposal.
Kind of late, you can get up there.
That's under review, they did produce a draft agreement,
Okay.
my office has reviewed it, revised it, so we're working through that. It's a significant agreement, so it will take some time.
But they were at my house, they wanna run the cable up past that electric line. I guess it's going into town too.
Okay.
Did they get
So
back
they're
to
coming
us?
from Chester County.
Yeah.
Will they do up on Chestnut Hill and provide those people that don't get anything right now?
He does.
They've been up there 2 days.
They have not yet given us the service area that they plan to serve. So it tells me that it will not be the entire township.
Well, they ran cables down, for instance, they brought them down North Twin Valley, they were stretching them down, Hopewell, Fire Tower, they were, so if they're doing those,
I know, every kid, they skip, they go up into the village and they skip the 6 houses that are there, we get nothing.
Are they-
We have Windstream, which is horrible.
Are they burying this, or is it overhead?
overhead,
Overhead of my,
it's overhead everywhere, they're
I
tying
told me
it up.
only come on my property if I get it for free. You don't wanna talk about it.
They can't be overhead up our way, we're underground.
Yeah.
So are they not gonna do anyone up there?
I think he cost you money.
Your communications underground?
Everything's
Yeah,
underground up there.
everything's underground up there.
Well, I can see him out in the village, but even out on
Yeah, ours
Chester.
all, it goes underground at above road someplace.
So service area, what areas are not being served right now that need to be continued?
Well,
Mount Airy
just-
Village gets
Yes, we have,
different selections,
service electric.
but 1319 Chestnut Hill, there's like 6 homes there that are on the main
On
street.
Chestnut Hill Road, yeah.
He said it wasn't worth going down the road because they had more clients up
And
in
that
the
will be
village.
between Settlers and Mount Air Boulevard, right? Between Settlers and Mount Air Boulevard.
Yes. On Chestnut. All right. Dustbusters cleaning contract for approval.
They are scheduled to come in tomorrow. This is the contract, which is good till the end of next year, December 26th. They picked the day, but, you know, we can adjust it, like she's coming in tomorrow, since Rand just ended their contract or their services. So this agreement says 6 months paid out, but she's giving us a 1 month invoice, you know. Again, the contract here says that we can change things as we go. So right now, she's allowing us to pay on a monthly basis.
Is that indefinitely, or will she at some point require 6 months paid up front?
I doubt that she will, I mean.
I know, she's
She'll
very
do
flexible.
monthly.
Don't think she's worried about us keeping her on the payment, I think that's what she's saying.
We kind of went to school with her, so I mean, I think she probably.
Right.
How often do they clean them?
Once a week.
And they're gonna do 2 Lenape once a week as well?
No, that's twice a month.
Or do we have that done down there?
Twice a month.
Yeah.
You just need more? No, no. And then for bucking the floors monthly, 300, is that comparable, is that comparable?
Well, it's a little bit more, Rand never broke it down that way.
Okay,
They just included it in the rate.
but they were really cheap, so.
They
I was just
were.
asking, I didn't know what it was
Yeah.
broken down, I'd never seen it broken down like that.
Right, it is a new way of breaking it down. If we find we don't need it bucked monthly, then, you know, we can make
Right.
adjustments.
Okay.
But, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on these floors. If you don't like what's happening, we'll change it.
Well, we already approved her services, so we just need you to
I
get
think we were
approved for you
looking
to
for
sign.
the contract. We were
Yeah, she
looking
has
for
my
the-
name on here, so if it's okay with the board.
I'll make a motion that we sign the contract with John.
Jones line.
On a monthly.
Good, motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Police Department, 2003 Tahoe municipal bid results. Who's signer?
As of 4 o'clock today, the final bid was $6,150 for 13 different bidders. So it did go up. I know we talked about a reserve of 10. The only thing I saw, and I don't know how it happened, when it was put on embassy bid, it was put under trucks, not under police cars. So I don't know if we didn't get the activity that we should have or not. I can't honestly say. It's up to the board if they want to move on the 6150. It's not their reserve. You know, grab it and get rid of
What
it.
year is that?
2003. Almost 92,000.
Blue Book's only 7,500. I mean, I know that, because it's just got that one, so.
I say we take it.
Make a motion, we accept it.
Second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
And who do we want to approve to sign?
That improve it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, that does the motion.
I'll make, yeah, I'll
Thank you,
coordinate
sir.
with Joan tomorrow to get in touch with the successful bidder then.
Okay, all those in favor of signing?
Aye.
Okay, personnel manual updates, benefits chart review, we need to get this one done tonight. I think, a few on here we need to update. So on the benefits chart, I think we agreed probationary period from 90 days to 1 year was agreed upon. Is everyone on board with that yet? And then the benefits wait time, we were gonna take that from, it was 90 days or 30 days with conditions or no wait period. We want to take that to no wait period, everyone's still good with that decision. And then sick time accrual, 40 hours per year, currently, proposal was 120 per year. And then sick time carryover, we discussed currently 240, well, the proposal is max 360, that's with the current year, right? That's, that 360 has the current year in it,
Yes.
so we're gonna have it worded that way. And
So
then,
the word plus would be
so it should be
including.
including current year. And then benefits accrual for new hires, we were gonna change that from anniversary date to calendar year. And then call out was minimum 2 hours plus OT. And then the proposal is minimum 2 hours plus OT and cell phone use stipend, $100 per year for full-time employees. So that would be for the employees that don't have township phones, and they're gonna use their own phones. Is that correct, how we left it? Okay. Part-time employees, minimum 2 hours at normal rate. So what were we missing?
The only thing I wanted to add is if he's out of town and we put somebody on call, or not on call, in charge of the crew, that he will be that week, he's away, and the one that's in control of what's going on, give him $1 an hour more. I don't think that's unreasonable. He's got 200, we get 24 days, 240 hours. So it's $240 that you're paying somebody when he's off for the entire year, $240 to run the shift. That's just my thoughts. That's not on here. I don't think that that's absorbent.
I didn't agree with it, but I mean, I don't care either way, I just think if we restructure, once we get employees here, that people will be paid according to their job, and then it peace out, that's their job to pick up next, but.
I think it's gonna be a payroll nightmare, won't it?
Yes. I just think, it's not that I totally disagree, and I think Sandy's right. The next person should be looking forward to take that spot for a week.
Okay.
Prove themselves to be the next guy, you know what I mean, ready to take over.
What do you think, Paul?
What? You have a foreman, right?
That's me.
Right, and you don't have nothing else. I thought you'd be the manager. Right.
No, my
That's the next
title,
thing we'll be going over.
Well, that wasn't talking about that.
Yeah,
But I mean, even then, so, if you're going away for a week, you're gonna give your guys a list of stuff to do for that week anyway.
That's what I
so.
mean, they're really not
That's true.
thinking
That's
on
a
their
valid
feet
point.
for the whole week, like he has.
That's how I do it, I mean, when
Right.
I'm on vacation, I let my guy, I give them a whole list of stuff they need to do.
I'm fine with that. I just wanted to throw it out so that we had a point of discussion.
Right, okay, alright, so we'll leave that as is, and then was there any, I thought there was one other thing on here that wasn't listed.
Well, we talked about the hours, but I
hours,
mean, is that gonna be,
and shifts.
that's not really underneath benefits, though.
Okay, alright,
We can do that different
Okay,
than
so-
what this is.
we need a motion to approve the new proposal.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Can I make a point of clarification? Under the accrual, benefit accrual for new hires, when you switch it to calendar year, for the new hire who is working a partial year for that first year, do you wanna say it's prorated? So if
To the
somebody's-
beginning of the
So if
calendar
somebody's
year.
hired in July, are you intending not to give them any benefits until January, the calendar year, or are you intending to give them a prorated?
I would say prorated would be
Yeah,
fair,
that would make
You
sense.
probably
and
want
then
to.
January, everyone's fresh, they're all the same.
And
So
what I
if
said,
they start in November or the beginning of December, still doesn't matter.
Then it would be
It would
prorated.
be prorated, they have
From Jan,
something.
till
Is that
January.
administratively?
It's already in the books that there is
They're
a
prorated.
prorated, so
Prorated,
if we
okay.
can keep that the same, I'll change the wording, and I can bring it to the board for
So
their
we'll have it
workshop.
prorated when they're hired, but everyone's gonna end up on a calendar year.
There is,
That'll
we would
be-
change that part, and I can
Yes.
bring it to the next meeting.
well, I mean, I'll still make that motion under the condition that it says prorated in that calendar year.
I'll second.
And then with your cell phone stipend of $100, is that gonna be paid all at once, or is that gonna be prorated, like in equal installments over the year?
I think that should be 12-month installments, or at the end of the year as a payout. Because if we give Keith $100 as of January 1st
He quits
for this year, and he quits on January 3rd, what did we get for $100? I mean,
I think
it's
you
all for
should,
nothing.
you should say it or spell it out in terms of how you're gonna, when you're gonna pay
Paid
it.
at the end of the year.
Yeah, but all your full-timers are gonna be getting phones, right? Isn't that how we just planned it?
In the
Well, are
event
we?
though, in the event.
Maybe they don't want,
I have one that doesn't want a phone.
yeah, I can see why, because if they turn their number over to the township, well, now the township has control over their phone. They might not wanna carry two phones, so they might want this, $100, keep their own phone. And you want a third one? No?
No, I mean,
But,
you keep
you know
your
what I'm saying.
personal,
Right,
but I mean, that way you go with
Some
township
people
phone
don't
that
wanna
they
have-
have to answer the phone, you know what I
If
mean?
you're,
That's-
if you as the board decides you're gonna provide the phone, then they're gonna have to carry it, whether they want it or not.
Didn't we order enough to get, we ordered enough to get everybody one, right? I think we ordered 10 phones, right?
Yes.
okay, so then,
For that reason,
That's what I thought, I mean, am I wrong in thinking that?
no, that's what.
we ordered them, they were cheap enough, and we knew we could use them,
No, I get that,
but,
but instead of doing this whole
That work
$100
phone is a
$100
work
thing,
phone, that's all it's.
instead of doing this whole $100 thing, I mean, we got them a phone. So we could actually eliminate that and just put the phone.
Because you're offering to do that, I would agree with you.
okay, yeah, because we started this before the
Right.
phone thing came
That,
on.
that's what I think we do. I mean, if
Okay,
they don't
so-
take the phone, then they don't get the money. I mean, that's what I think.
Okay, so you wanna
So the $100
revise
will
this?
be paid out at the end of the year.
No,
No,
No.
we're providing
we're
phones.
providing phones, because they're cheap enough.
But if we get a new hire, we can prorate that along with the other benefits and give them that $100 at the end, $90, $80, whatever it turns out at the end of the year.
He's saying don't give them an option at all, they get a cell phone. When
If
on
they're
call.
full-time, they'll have a cell phone.
So if they're full-time, we're buying them a
Okay.
phone that they will be required to use for us.
Okay, well, technically, it's only if they're gonna be on call, correct? So we could have a phone that one phone that goes out with whoever's on call, if they don't wanna take one full time. This is the on-call phone, if that's how they wanna handle it.
What's your thoughts, Kate?
I got guys on lawnmowers and on tractors, and we're out, not near the truck, not near the cell phone makes it easier if you gotta reach them. So
Okay, so then-
while they're at work, it's nice if they got a cell phone, you can send them a text, you can send them a
Whatever,
whatever.
look, bad
Okay.
spot, you can't get radio,
So you're
whatever.
saying everyone gets
So
a phone,
just give
there is no
everybody a phone.
$100.
I'm giving
And
everybody
they're
a phone,
required to carry it while they are working.
and when they're,
Okay,
if
or
they're,
on call,
Or
or
if they're
even
not
on
a
call.
person.
Pending storm or something like that, you know?
Well,
I mean,
everyone's on call then, right,
Right.
isn't it written up that way? Alright.
Right.
Okay, so
That
then
makes
we're gonna
sense.
take the phone
We're
$100
gonna make the
out,
$100.
take it out. everyone gets a phone,
Scratch
or I
the
can
home.
carry it during work hours and on, when they're on call, and during the winter hours that are in the contract or the manual. Okay,
It works.
alright. So, do we wanna clean this up and we wanna make a motion?
Well, no,
with
I mean, we can make the
adjustments?
motion now.
Just
Yep.
eliminate
So-
that
Eliminating
section
that.
of proposal.
We have to put the prorated in the calendar year for benefit accrual, and we have to scratch the $100 payout
Right.
per year
Okay,
to people for self-insurance.
Now, do each one of your guys have like their own email? So like Joan, when you send emails out, you just send it to Keith, and Keith distributes to all the,
They all right now have one except the new employee,
Except for
I think I'll
Scott.
send you an email.
A
So
township
Links can set it up if you want. I forget, there's something that happened that everyone needed it, I forget what it was now, but.
Yes, everybody needed one
Okay,
for
so
one of
we'll
the
get him
LTAP
a-
trainings or something.
Right, exactly, so.
but Jeff, they all have township emails?
Yes, Pete
Okay.
does, Jeff,
Okay, so we
Those
can
two.
put that, their phones will have the township email already installed on it, so.
we'll make sure to get the new guy his email, and then all these phones will get the emails installed.
Right, so since we're changing the policy here, is it okay, next meeting, workshop, I'll show you all the policy manual sheets that are being updated, so.
Yes.
Well, why can't we
Yep.
just approve it with that and just,
Just approve
Okay,
it
and
now.
then she'll, have it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do I need to include the, township issued cell phone requirement
Does she
in the
have to
policy
write
manual?
some policy up for that, or?
I would have it in the manual.
Okay,
well,
so,
you know,
yeah,
for full-time
I think
employees receive a township phone.
And they're required to carry it while they're working.
so add that in. and
You can
then-
put that in lieu of the $100. Take the
No,
$100.
she needs
Why
in the
would you put
manual saying that
$100?
all, every employee
I
is
agree.
required to have that.
Okay, well, so Lori's full-time, do you want it just for road crew, or you want her to have one too?
What do you wanna do about that?
What?
Do you want Lori to have one also?
Well,
All non-uniform?
I would think so.
Okay, so,
We'll have to order more.
okay, so, and then you update the manual, and, yes,
All
like you
full-time.
said, print out the manual and be updated. We'll look at it, and
And how many do you get? You got 5?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
you
one-
have
That
one.
wouldn't be enough.
Does T have one?
Does T need one?
She used to have one years ago.
Mm.
Yeah, but she has access when she's working to the radios, you know what I mean? Right?
Well, the problem that we had is the radio's out there. If she's on the phone with somebody calling in, can't get to the radio. So, and we talked about adding the two-way, on this phone, chirping.
The direct contact, yeah.
Right, so she would be able to chirp the
Oh,
officer.
so they have the next stuff, so you,
Yeah,
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
that's what they do.
it's,
All right,
it's
so-
basically $2 a month.
She almost needs to have one, because if there is an emergency, these are the only phones that are gonna be working probably,
Mhm.
and she's gonna need to contact you guys for stuff.
Or the emergency two-way, one or the other.
and
or
you,
both.
you had an AT&T guy out here? I mean,
Yeah, Brian's his name.
cause I mean, I'd be interested in talking to him just cause
Well, they're gonna
it's
come
like
out,
a hell of a lot cheaper what I'm paying.
we'll let you all know when they're coming out to help us all with the phones. We have 5 more phones coming. We can order as many as you all require, and then they're gonna come here and do it in person, signing us all up on our things. We have SIM cards too that have to be plugged in for the FirstNet program. So we'll let you know, I mean, it's gonna be during business hours. And then there's an AT&T rep that can come help other employees that want to take advantage.
Yeah, I'd like to do it, take
Yeah,
advantage.
cause I'd have questions on Verizon and AT&T and how that works with contracts and
Yeah,
are the phones compatible even, because usually when you have a Verizon phone, it's not compatible with an AT&T plan.
Phone has to be paid off, first off, and it has to be band 14 compliant.
Yeah,
And if it's not band 14 compliant, you can't.
So that's where they're making their money. You get the penny for it, or you're still getting phones for a penny, right?
99 cents.
Right, 99 cents?
You don't need phone. You don't need 99 cents.
Wait, can't beat that.
and the whole thing is the government gave AT&T millions of dollars to help
Right.
you know, with emergencies, you know, for government officials, so, you know, it's
You know,
there.
look at when that tornado hit us and the
Right.
cluster when that came through.
Well, 9/11 was a big one.
But you know, these little cell
9/11 was
towers that they're
huge.
putting in at fire companies and near fire companies, that's what that's all about. That's AT&T putting those substations in to help.
Well, and AT&T picks
EMS.
locations like fire companies where they're gonna benefit from it, you know,
Yeah.
so, you know, they get a monthly income from that tower being on their property.
And also, we're entitled to free, I'm gonna call it boosters.
We're gonna put 3 hotspots in here, there'll be
Yeah.
one for this room and one for the bingo hall, so that you're guaranteed to have
So,
full
like
service.
AT&T, I was sitting over on that side and it was really slow because of the structure of the building.
Mhm.
So with the booster, it'll make it all better.
And what did we find out about a tablet? Can you
It's
get-
in,
Oh, you got it.
Then
we did a purchase order, so, they're gonna get us off with that.
I signed
Phones
that
and the
bill.
iPad.
I signed that check.
Okay.
So we made a motion, it was second, we just gotta take a vote on this?
Pending the changes of the cell phone.
Correct.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
very good.
We are,
Second, all in favor? Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, draft ordinance number 188, park rules.
Madam Chair, is this the sign? Is this the rules that are going on the sign? What are we? My comment is the signs, if this is rule signs that are gonna be posted at the parks, we add the addresses on both sides of said signs, so that if there's an emergency, Johnny falls off the swing set, Mom can look at the sign around the park and say, I'm 911, I'm at this address. So that's my only comment. I don't know where we're at, but there's rule signs that were gonna go up.
I agree, the address should be on there, because that makes perfect sense.
This is the most recent copy they're looking at. So I updated everything based on last month's discussion with the Parks feedback, Parks and Rec feedback. There was 2 outstanding questions that I flagged. First one, we had a section 3 designation of park system that was really intended to sort of segregate your different parks. If you wanted to apply different rules for the different parks, have different operating hours at Birdie versus Friendship, for example. I don't think that's how it panned out at all. So we could probably just strike section 3 and not have it. If you're gonna treat everybody the same,
I think that's what we decided, we wanted everything.
I just wanted to make sure that I was reading the room
Well,
correctly.
that was one of the reasons I became a supervisor, that
Yep.
the one back there, Birdie had dusk to dawn or dawn to dusk, and the other ones had days and times of the year. I mean, we definitely need to have
Okay.
them uniform.
So we should
Okay.
remove that
So we'll
section.
remove section 3. And then there was a notation based on discussion that at least at one point it was referenced that the basketball courts may have different hours than the parks themselves. And I
Do we
wasn't
really
su-
consider the basketball court a park, though?
Yes, we do, but I don't know what the name of it is on the sign that's posted over there. There's a sign with rules, and that Everett Park has a name, but I don't know if that's the South Street, the courts, I don't know what the name of that is.
That sounds right.
I mean, I think we can make the courts separate than the 3 parks. I mean, don't you guys all agree?
Okay, but we discussed the hours last time, what did we decide to go with?
Well, we're stepping it back an hour. Curfew was
Okay.
11 o'clock, and I think we stepped it back to 10 o'clock, or was it 10 to 9? I forget.
Well, I have the basketball court shall be open daily to the public during the hours of 7 AM to 10 PM.
10 PM.
That's what the timer is set over there to go on.
7 to 10, and that's year round, 7 to 10. The parks themselves, if you look up one sentence, it runs 7 to 9 from April to October, and then 7 to 6 during the winter from October to March, from October 16th to later this week, 7 to 6.
I don't know why you don't just do dusk to
Why don't we
dawn
just-
unless posted
For the
differently.
basketball court.
because the basketball court
has the lights.
has lights, but we could post that on the rules that the hours are
Dusty
different.
Dawn.
Well, the others can be dusted on unless it's posted differently on the sign at the park. You're putting rule signs up at each one. And because the basketball court
Which
is
would
your
go
only
with
one.
dark, you know what I mean, and it changes, I mean, in December, it gets dark at 4:30 in the afternoon,
Right.
so.
But if there's lights, why do we have the lights?
Just because they're there now. I
They're
mean,
always
that'll
on.
just be because they're there now.
Cause that was from the old school, so I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, just because the lights are there doesn't mean you have to
That
use
park
them.
sees a lot of use, most
Well,
of the year.
and the problem is,
But in the winter
it's a lot
time.
of use from out of towners, it's not even our kids, that's what,
It's a little hidden gem to them. They found it, don't have to compete. They can play for, as long as they want.
Alright, well, what do you wanna do? You wanna do all of the same basketball courts also?
I say we do it all the same and see what happens.
I'm fine with doing it, we can always change it if it becomes an issue.
I make a motion that we do it all.
Then his mother-in-law won't call me.
Motion?
So am I gonna make,
Second?
am I making the lights go out?
Yep,
Yep,
Dusty Dawn.
The last time I locked those courts and turned the lights out, they climbed the fence and turned the headlights on the car from the parking lot.
Well, you know
So
what?
Sign up
then
for
the
police
police-
officer
Let's
to
have,
come
let's
by.
have the cops do a drive-by down.
Listen, in the summertime, if they turn the lights on, or the lights are on till 10, but are they gonna be there till 9 o'clock?
Send me the,
On a winter night, I don't think so.
Well, they do.
Alright, well, let's try this, see what, how
And
it
you
works
get phone
out.
calls too for Patrick.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
And that's to remove the basketball court hours from there.
That's just
Correct,
what
they're gonna be
the,
dusted on like every other
So,
park.
so you say dusk at dawn, but we've got hours in this ordinance.
We wanna, is that what you decide?
They're
Also, you wanna
summertime
change them all
hours.
to dusted dawn, or do you wanna?
I would say all the same hours.
I mean, the
Okay,
dusted
I'll see.
dawn works, the only problem I have is that same thing, you have a curfew of 11 o'clock for kids under 18, so what do they do now? That's the only issue that I see with that.
well, I
We'll
mean,
try it.
dusk is 9:30 in the summer.
I get it, so then you gotta be out of the park at 9 o'clock, 9:30, but then, so what do they do for 2.5 hours, go around vandalize?
and in December, they could be shooting hoops till 6 o'clock and it's been dark for 2 hours.
I know, you know, I mean, you see where I'm going with that, I mean, I just,
Yes, but
that's,
it doesn't mean,
How do
we
you
don't,
make,
we're not
how do you
telling
make
them to go
everyone
vandalize.
happy all the time?
I get that.
I
I get that.
know, but let's just try it.
Dusk
What do
at
we wanna
dawn
do?
is most flexible, although you might have an enforcement issue if you get into fighting over whether it was really dusk or not.
Right.
But
So
you
if you
probably aren't gonna have an officer sitting there citing someone
Right,
the
no.
moment the sun sets.
Well, if somebody's getting a parking ticket because they're parked there at dusk, I don't think that's really gonna be the big issue. If they're committing murder, that's a different story.
I think it'd be better to have time, so.
I think time makes it more specific, so you know by 6 o'clock,
Okay,
you
so
gotta be
then,
out of here.
do you wanna just have the park times go with the basketball?
Well, okay, look at it, you were a police officer, you get it, okay, so you're gonna have it till 9 o'clock, but it's gonna, it could be dark for hours. Well, I'm just saying it changes every day.
Oh, sure it does, but
It'd
that's
be
what I
easier for the
think,
cops to drive by and, hey, it's dark out, you're not supposed to be in the park, right?
but
Cut and dry.
with the hours that they,
It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, I mean, it's, okay, so like I said, 4:30 in December, 9 o'clock in July, so
Are you
cop
gonna
can
have,
buy it's dark and they're in the park.
are you gonna have somebody from the road department there every month changing the times on the lights? To follow the times of darkness?
The way
You
it's,
know what I mean?
the way it's set up now, it comes on its own with a sensor, and the timer turns it off at 10 p.m. That's the way it's set
Right,
up
that's
now.
not gonna be an issue.
so you just set the timer to turn off at 6 o'clock.
So we,
Trust me, I took this to court, okay, so I won the court case over this because of days and times of the year and the curfew. Judge threw it out because he's like, my kid was in the park after dark, so he got a ticket. $160 ticket, by the way, $160 ticket for being in the park after dark, okay? But yet you have 11 o'clock curfew, so that's where, I don't know what the right answer is.
And they left you off on it?
Yeah.
See that? I don't
because,
know how, because
no, I'm gonna tell you why,
just because
because,
you have a curfew at 11 o'clock doesn't mean you can
Oh,
go somewhere where
no,
it's
because-
posted that you're not allowed to be.
because Birdie's Park said dawn to dusk, or dusk to dawn, okay,
Uh-huh.
but then this one here in Highcroft had days and times of the year,
Uh-huh.
so they didn't match.
There's,
So
there's
what
your
park
key.
is it?
That's what
But you
I'm
go by the
saying.
rules of
There's
which
your key.
park.
But what I'm saying though is that, so I went in there, this happened in November, so it was dark at 6 o'clock,
Uh-huh.
but yet you could still be in the park in Morgantown till 9 o'clock.
So they should have come up to the park up here.
But my kid's right behind, this was my kid, so.
It's-
I came to 12 township
You're not
meetings and 4 Park and
special.
Rec meetings, and everybody just kinda looked at me like, huh? So I, you know what, I became a supervisor. Now here we are dealing with it, so, I
Okay,
don't,
But if we say dusk to dawn, that clears it up for all.
I agree.
And
What's
the
illegal,
bulk of
what's
the-
illegal, what do you
The
say?
bulk of the times that we're having issues are the wee
After dark.
hours, way late.
okay, so
10,
with dusk to
11,
dawn, we
12,
don't need the
1,
lights on. They're
3, 4 in
permanently
the
off.
morning.
You're not allowed to be in there after dark, so you don't need the lights anyway.
That's true, you wouldn't need
So
lights.
just shut the lights off completely. Right, solve that problem. They don't need it.
I will do whatever you decide you wanna
How many
do.
kids, use it? I mean, I don't drive by there, I don't know.
Which one?
Let's just say the basketball court.
A lot.
A lot use that.
That's steady. In the summertime, it is more, but in the
I
wintertime,
know,
it is.
Your mother-in-law calls me and says, hey, I don't wanna call the police department, they're out there jamming their music really loud, da-da-da-da-da. So then I call him, and he's like, I'll send an officer out.
And she shouldn't have to deal with that at 10 o'clock at night.
All right, let's make a decision. We'll stick with it, and if we get a lot of complaints or we get feedback, then we'll adjust it as we need to.
Well, can we put, what would you dust it on, is it the lights down here, can't we do like a night light and
No,
have
we'll
that
just
dust
shut
on,
it off.
thing up there automatically shuts off when it gets dark?
We have a timer, there's a box with a timer, so I can turn them off
You can turn it off.
at whatever time you
Yeah,
like.
they just get shut off.
I,
You won't need.
they
the
go off at 10, so we just pull our cars around and shine the headlights on and continue to play, which is gonna make an issue for Paul.
That's what we have the police department for.
We just had one at the soccer field. We decided to wanna play soccer, like, so they pulled the vehicles up to the field so they could play soccer in the dark.
Dust to dawn.
Which turns into something.
Well, then you just let them know
Right.
and remind them and ask them to leave, and that's the end of that. Nobody needs to be cited for anything. You just-
Right, I'm not saying they shoot tickets, but if
Right.
they're gonna get dumb, then you got.
$160 ticket to it.
Get over it.
While we're on the
Okay,
subject
so
of
what-
disturbance though, did you have
What?
Ron, did you have a dirt bike and bumblebee cars turn around in your driveway all weekend doing burnouts?
Yep.
Where'd they come from?
Okay. Cause I called the police finally on Sunday when they got the cars out, and they were turning around in my driveway and doing hole shots.
Did you hear that car backfiring real bad? Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, well, I heard about that in Robinson Township, they thought somebody was gunfire.
Well, that's what, it was that car going up and down, they were going down 82 as well.
Real bad.
And it went on all day, they went down through the field on the dirt bikes.
He lives next to
Okay,
Judge
so
Glass.
where are we at?
Let's do dust
All
to
parks
dawn.
the
Let's
same,
do
dusk
dusk
to
to
dawn,
dawn.
all
Dusk to
parks the
dawn.
same.
Don't you wanna do dark, or do you wanna do dusk?
What's that?
Are you doing dark or dusk?
Dust. That way you
Okay,
get time to get home.
okay.
Okay. So let's, so we can revise that. And then we wait to vote until we have it cleaned up, or what do you wanna do?
Why don't you make a motion to revise these hours to dusk to dawn? We haven't done that yet.
Motion?
Yes.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
And then we have to remove we needed to remove the.
Section 3,
Section
Yes.
3,
motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Now, do you want me to go ahead and now advertise the ordinance for action at your next meeting, or do you want to see a cleaned up version?
Well, I think it's pretty well
You did
cleaned up.
exactly what we talked about, I say clean it
I
up,
think,
go for
yeah, I
it.
think
Yeah.
this was it, that was, yeah, I
So you need
think.
a motion to advertise?
You can make a motion to.
Make a motion to
Second.
advertise.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Done.
Fireplace assistance,
Make a motion.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
ID badges.
ID badges.
You know, I saw a thing, PSATs has, when they send the cards out, they have a thing where you can get your picture on it.
That's what I think you should do. Can you put your pictures on it?
You didn't attach this,
No, I have it here and bring it from the screen.
so we did get a card made up and put it on the, which has a picture, has our township seal. So basically, $20 setup fee, and we can tweak this, and basically each card would be $10.
Nah, I agree, it doesn't.
You have to refer now. Yeah, I mean, anything to, in the event of an emergency like that tornado, that was confusing. Because we have people from other townships, state police were here,
Yeah, they don't.
people from the county were here, nobody knows who anybody is. I mean, the police all have ID,
Basically, you could do where it's hanging from the wind, or you can do it sideways, because when we order it, or if you order, decide to order it, we just need to know how to set it up.
I think we do landings.
Yeah.
We can get them
And then-
too, right?
that way you can leave it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to get, I mean, I have the key fob, but even put the key cards on there, so when you're going around, you got it right there, and you go right up to the door.
That would work.
They don't make these with the key fob system, or I did.
Well, no, I'm saying, a separate one.
But yeah, you
If
could.
you put a separate one on it, you know, what I mean, you have that for your ID, but then have a key
Yeah.
fob, you just boom.
Well, yeah, the current company told me we don't use the key cards anymore like that, it's the little fobs.
Okay. You can hang on the,
We can hang
They can
it.
hang it
on
on
it.
the back.
That's fine.
yeah, just make it one. All right, so how do we, what do you want?
Well, I mean, tweaks of the front, back, you know.
No, that's
Who do you
basic
want to sign
information,
that
I mean.
back?
Well, I think John looks like a woman.
Probably should.
So you want,
I would think the township manager should, I mean.
should be township
Yes.
administrator.
Yes,
Okay,
administrator
back,
should sign.
okay. And then on the front, the name and position, township supervisor, township maintenance, whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
yeah, which department?
And then what I can do is get what is, all I do is take my phone and take pictures. And then we electronically send it to them, and then within usually a few days, they'll send them in the mail to us with a book. So if if you're happy with that layout, minus the tweaks.
I mean, Joe, what do you think? Would you rather do that, or something like on your hip with like one of them, I've seen them do that before.
Probably still do it with that, it's got the hole there at the top.
Yeah.
And then we have the kind of clips too that you can put through that hole and the key fob that you currently have, the little round thing. You can fit through that too if you want both on there.
I think you display it with a lantern, I think that.
So we can get you the extendable, retractable, lanyard.
Well, I'm short, so even if I have a lantern, I can walk right up to it.
All right, let's move forward. Everyone's on board, we're
I'll
going
work with
forward
Joe.
with this.
Yeah. You're not one of them, because that's facial recognition,
Easy Pass application. Okay, so looking to get Easy Pass for the township, for the road crew. When they take equipment and they're on, it's expensive paying those by plate.
Yeah,
Can we,
well,
check into what it would cost?
yeah, it's $10 per transponder and they want 10 at a minimum for the commercial account.
Which is $10 cheap.
$100.
Yeah,
$100, yeah, for the transponders and then 100 minimum on a credit card.
and that's for townships, right? I mean, that's a special
Man,
price.
how does that
That's
work though?
covered.
Cause on a personal account, for each Easy Pass, it's $35, but you have to put in an account.
Yeah,
And once it gets down so far, it automatically drafts another 35. But see, I have 3 Easy Passes, so when my one account goes down below, it takes out,
100, mine takes out
yeah,
100
yeah,
bucks.
it takes out for all 3, so I do that every time for 10.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I was
a
just
minimum of
thinking.
100.
Well, my question, or my thought on that would be,
First off, how often do we use it? It's just nice
No,
to have.
I
it
get,
when
I
we-
get that, I'm just saying, I just know how they do mine, cause my kid's been using mine, all of a sudden I'm seeing like, why do I have like $95 or a hundred bucks coming out of my account? I'm like, I have been on Turnpike, but.
Well, all the cars would be listed on the account.
Doesn't
So I
matter
have
though,
3
each
cars.
What I'm saying though is that
Right.
you have 3 transponders,
Yes.
if one of them goes down below the minimum, which is like 15
They
bucks,
deduct
they
35
automatically
from
take
all
another
three.
$35 out, but they not only do that for one, they do it times 3, cause I have 3.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
rough if they
But
did.
the I
Don't
have
they
2
have some-
transponders and it's like one account.
Yeah,
There's
same
2
with
transponders. All those transponders go on one account,
Yes.
so she'll wanna have,
I'll confirm that it's a one-time, you know, the $100 each time and not 100 times.
right, I didn't
10.
need to make the minimum for each transponder.
To
I just
me,
need
that's
minimum
why
for
I'm
the
bringing it
account.
up, cause I know
Yeah.
that's how it happens with my personal
That's
one.
how, yeah.
Now I have, my one son doesn't have one, but his license plate's tagged to my account, so if he goes through, it goes to mine too, so he doesn't even have a transponder.
Well, we're gonna do more than the 35, well, these truck, what's it cost for one vehicle, one of our trucks, the large truck?
Well, the large trucks is probably gonna be really expensive.
Right,
But my thought pattern is chances of one of the large trucks being on the turnpike is very slim. It would be one of the pickup trucks.
Do you guys
Okay.
have them for the cop cars?
No, and we actually brought it up, the possibility,
well, yeah.
cause right now we
Well,
either
if you
get a
got-
You have to
bill,
get 10
If
minimum.
you have to go to Westchester courthouse or
right,
something
we
like
get a
that,
bill
you know.
now, you know, in the mail, and then I usually go on a credit card, pay for it.
We just assign the transponder to the vehicle like we do with the.
Yeah, if we get 10 of
and
them,
then-
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get 10 and each one will be for a vehicle, you know, it'll
Right.
have its assignment and they would keep the transponder with that
Right.
car.
I just asked that question, if it
Yeah.
just bills it individually or it bills times 10.
I will ask that.
All right, so everyone's on board with moving forward with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get that answered in the workshop, is that okay?
All right, administrators report.
Okay.
AT&T FirstNet cell phones and iPad update. Well, we pretty much went over that.
Right, we're still waiting for some phones, 5 of them,
Okay,
and then we'll let you all know when the meeting is for all of us.
okay. 457 plan update.
Eric's been helping me reviewing some things, but, I'm gonna wait for another quote then, maybe PSATs can help us, so I'm gonna find out.
Electronic sign quotes update.
Yep, I provided that to you. Actually, I have one more CoStarz company that can give us an estimate. So, I've provided all of the amounts I've received so far, and 2 of the companies, 3 of them will be CoStarz, so, we'll just have to determine which one the board wants to go with, once I get that 3rd quote.
Okay. Carnival update,
Gonna be exploring contract for next year, but nothing more.
maintenance department, manager report. Street obstruction sample ordinance.
Did she redistribute that, Sandy? Is that what she
She-
did?
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
Yeah, so,
Okay, yeah, it's in here. So,
yeah.
did anyone get a chance to read that?
I just
Yeah.
got it, no.
Okay. Now, some of this is covered already in other ordinances. Yes, no,
A little bit.
okay, so is this something, you know, some stuff is covered,
All right, I think we need, this would probably be a good workshop
okay.
conversation.
Could we maybe have, Lori, check into other ordinances and maybe we can pool and coordinate, so we have it in front of us. Is this something?
I think, and there was discussion the last month a little bit about this as to where do we draw the line on the type of vehicle that we wanna restrict.
Right,
You know, there is some stuff that keeps found in the deep restrictions for some of these developments. But, you know, we get into where do you say what size
so we
vehicle.
wanna have all that when we're discussing
you
at
know,
the next meeting, we wanna have any other ordinances that we might be duplicating, so we don't duplicate them. Anything else? And then put that on for workshop?
I mean, I still feel you should do it off of gross vehicle weight. Cause I don't wanna penalize people that have pickup trucks with a name on the side instead of that commercial.
I agree, that would be crazy.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense at
I
all.
already got in trouble for telling somebody, you probably saw, about moving the truck on Lenape. That's chalk, that we already asked to move off of the township garage, or the playground down there. And, you know, somebody complained, and that person went on social media and went on a rampage about the truck. As you probably both saw, or already saw.
You talking about electric truck?
His stepson's pickup for personal truck, who's in the military right now. The truck was moved last winter off of the street because of winter snow coming. It sat in the John Birdie Park. I just left it be because I thought there was some type of allowance being made. We moved it off of there, now it's been sitting on the street. It's chalk, it's like he's got wheel chocks on there and it's not moving. So we got a complaint, I called, hey, can you do something? He went on a rampage about it.
The only thing that I'll say about that is, I mean, thank you to his son for his service, but, you know what I mean? We don't have parking facilities for everybody in our township.
As most of you drive through there on a daily basis, you know how many cars are out front of there, and it does create a problem.
Okay, well, since we're on street obstructions, where do we stand for this winter with, basketball nets that are out in the way? What did we do anything like that yet?
No, we did not.
We're at the
And
give-
now we have winter coming up again, and we still don't have anything in place to.
Well, they're specifically listed, there's a section in that
Okay,
ordinance that
all right, so that's
addresses
in
it.
here also, all right, so we can hit
The-
that right away.
And that's a constant battle back and forth with the residents. We tell them to move them,
Right, I
move
mean-
them, then they're back.
They're not
Summer,
even
I
just
don't
in
care
the
if
edge
they're
of the
out
street
playing
now,
there,
they're
but-
in
No,
the
I'd rather
street.
have the
When
kids.
winter's here and
Right.
they have to plow the streets, you move
Right.
it or you lose it.
Yeah.
We remove them and they get removed,
Yeah.
whether we give them away then or trash them, you know, that's. We need to plow roads. We can't
Well,
be
again,
picking up
like you
people's
said, we'll
stuff.
get into next month where we get the word out again through social media and other avenues.
But we need it in writing showing what we're gonna do.
Right.
I
And
say
then when
stay
these go
away
through
from
and
them.
we have them picked up, that's just the way it is.
I say stay away from them. If they're in the street when it snows, plow one lane through there and keep going.
Well, there's no reason we should be mailing out stuff every year to do that, cause that
No,
costs money
no,
to do
that's
that.
what-
You plow one lane through there and I guarantee you they'll all move. The first time you do that.
What plow them?
Don't plow it, just plow one lane past it, stay away from it.
Well, we tried that.
We tried that, it creates drainage
Yeah,
issues
yeah, it's
later,
a
but
yeah,
Yeah,
you can't.
we tried when people
Cause
complained
then it
about the
freezes,
mailbox
the
to
water's out in the
stay,
middle.
to stay like a half a blade away from the
Well, I
curb.
mean, you ask
But then it didn't
politely
get
and
the
you get
inlets, and we
nowhere.
ended up when it started melting, we ran into a bunch of stormwater issues.
I've hit one, in fact, I've hit two already.
What?
Two of those basketball
Seems
nets,
like
I
a
pulled
iron
one down
sale
up
is
to Nycrone
necessary.
and one back here.
Do we have an eye requirement? Glasses?
Yep, see, yep.
All right, so if we'll go over this at, workshop.
Thank, give me a test.
You were worried about airways.
SEO report. Library report. Tax collector. Is there anything on the tax collector we need to do? Is there any? No. Okay. Police department.
You have the monthly report for you, again, a busy month with various activities. We are going to be working on an event with the Albertson EMS for a coat and toy drive. So we will get stuff out on social media, so if you have any used jackets or toys that you would like to donate, we'll have bins here at the Township building to coordinate that. Also, next Wednesday, the 19th, is also Operation Safe Stop. We'll be working in conjunction with the school bus company, following buses for violation of school bus violations. That is your national one across, so there'll be activities in multiple areas. But again, the department's staying active and keep busy. Do you have any other questions for me?
this thank you note?
That was remember I reported last month, there was the sexual assault at the Holiday Inn, by the gentleman assaulted the young lady. This was her mother, thanking the investigator who, took the action and worked with the family to bring closure.
That's why I questioned the first question, the first
Did
sentence.
you say dead ends?
Did I say Dennis? I Dennis?
Yeah, it's tough to read, there is a
Okay.
little bit of a language barrier,
Okay,
but they just wanted to thank the officers involved, Detective Everly and stuff like that, for his actions.
That's what it looks like, right?
yes, yes. Okay, zoning code enforcement officer.
Two things I want to bring up. Notice of violation was sent to the owner of 413 Swamp Road regarding the earthwork without an erosion and sedimentation plan. And notice of violation sent to 83 Hertzler Drive about the dumpster that's on the Kidjoy property.
Is that what I talked to you about?
Yep.
Okay.
And nothing on the.
And that's all, is that all cleared up with Service Electric?
Sir, all the stuff is off of Service Electric, and actually all the materials that were there, he's removed them. The only thing that's left is the dumpster.
Okay.
So that's really what after about. And on the Morgantown Garage, they called me about 10 days ago with some questions. So they're working on the plans.
Okay. EMS report. You have your monthly report and your ARPA budget report. Fire department, monthly report, budget information.
In regards to the budget information, I asked Joan to include this with ours that we can take a look at it. Get a chance to look at it because we're doing budgets, but they're asking for an increase, and it's a substantial increase. Some of it's due to assessments going up in the county or in the township, but others is they budgeted for a ladder truck and they went a little over budget, so some of that's gonna involve that as well. So take a look at that information, I guess we can discuss that when it comes to budgets.
Well, while we're on the fire department budget, you want to discuss bringing back the fire tax, so it's
Yes.
separated out, so we can deal with stuff like this?
Cause that way it would make it easier for us. And I don't know, I'm picking numbers because I don't know, but if the millage came out to $140,000 at 0.4 mils, then that's what they got. Then the following year, if we needed to increase it, it's not a tax increase for us, it's a tax increase for the fire department, just to make their budget. So instead of doing it on our level, we do it for the fire department, because that vanity tax is already there. That tax was removed by a prior board, and all that money was put into the general fund. So what I'm saying is, we break that tax off, start withdrawing that money for that specific purpose, whatever the millage is whatever it's set
Right,
at.
so we have it separated, it just doesn't show on everyone's taxes, so this way it'll
Right.
show as a, what did it say, levy on the tax, it says levy, special levy. Now, with that being said, we had taken it off, were they charging, the county was gonna start to charge us for every separate levy we had?
I'll have to look into that.
I think that's what started this,
That's why,
there was
yeah,
gonna be a
that's why you
surcharge, because they
combine.
went to their new system.
And they just went to
Do you
another
remember
new
that?
system, so.
All I know is that we did away with them, and all you really did was take your money from your right pocket and put it in your left
Left
pocket.
pocket, right.
Right, but
That's
the
pretty much all
county
you did.
changed, and they were gonna start charging us for every levy we had
That's what I
also.
remember, I could be wrong.
But I mean, we had an equipment fund too, that was one of them as well. And now that we did that, he doesn't see that money.
I
we
had two
budgeted it?
thoughts.
Don't we budget
My
that out
thoughts
on the-
were to bring back the fire tax and the major equipment tax.
Right.
And put that money specifically, whatever the millage is, for those taxes to go to. So that At the
No,
end of
I
next year-
like your idea about the fire company, because that
At the end-
definitely,
At the end of next year, it's not our headache, that money's from the taxes from the people that are already paying those taxes, they get what that millage is. It'll be up to
We already
us.
have that tax in there.
Right,
We
it's
do,
already, the
but
money's
it'll show
already
on their
there.
tax bill
Yeah.
now that the fire company is increasing this much.
But now since all these townships are together, you can see by the report here that we gave $116,000 and Honeybrook gets more, calls than we do and they only gave $7,000.
Yes.
I mean, so something gotta
Well,
start being equal here.
it's based on, the formula that comes up with is based on tax assessment, it's based on median income, it's based on coverage area. It's not, they don't use the call volume anymore, it used to be calls, but they don't do that anymore. But the assessment went up from last year to this year because of the casino. So you can expect some sort of increase that way if you wanna look at assessment, and you can get all the numbers from the county. But some of the additional expenses that they're looking for is to cover $1 million that they went over budget on a fire truck.
How do we go over $1 million?
Well, that's a good question, so,
That's not
you don't buy something if you can't afford it, and I get it that, you know,
But they knew they couldn't
the fire
afford it.
company's important to us, and I will never knock that, I get that. But I don't think that this is something that they need, but,
Well, we can't go broke over it.
well, I was at the budget meeting, and I tell you, I mean, you heard from Elverson Borough as well, right? They're kind of in the same boat that I'm thinking.
Okay, so if we can check on that, the tax levies and see if what they're now doing, since they got another system now.
I will tell you,
Okay,
Elverson
so
Borough
maybe
said
they're
no to
not-
the increase. I can tell you that.
I know
See
that,
what we
and
can do.
so did
That's a
Honeybrook
fact.
Township, so did
There's a limit
Warwick Township, so.
to-
And the county just sent the letter requesting for your tax info, so
Okay,
that'll
so
be on
it's
your
time to do it.
November.
Okay.
Yep.
All these
So then if you
municipalities and boroughs are
break
saying
out
no.
what it is currently, and then
And that's fine, but that would
we'll
take
break
it
out
off
what we
us.
need to meet
That's what I'm saying.
what we agreed
No,
to
no,
give
no,
them
I like that idea,
Oh,
I like
yeah.
that idea, cause I mean, volunteerism's down, okay?
Sure it is.
You know, honestly, people don't donate like they used to, they just don't, you know, they get the mailings, the fire company spends a lot of money to send them mailings out,
And we
but
need
they
them.
don't get a
They're
lot of
important.
responses, I mean, this way, you know, you have it in there, that way they know they're paying for the fire company.
And
We're not
that's
raising
specific.
taxes, we're already taking it out.
Exactly, it's not a matter of
No, no, no,
raising
but
it.
what he's saying though is that you could increase that fire tax every year to the
Just the
residents
fire
because it
tax.
pays for the fire department.
It's not, that money's not coming to us for our use,
We're
it's
just
coming
putting an
to us
account for
to
them.
go to the
Yeah,
fire
but we're
company.
already getting it taken out.
Right,
Yeah.
right now we are,
But we need
yes.
to
But
adjust
we-
it,
we don't know how
we
much
have
it
to
is
agree
until
on
we
that
find out
amount
how
that we
much it
wanna
was.
adjust it.
But we can't keep going over $1 million at a time
I'm
either.
not arguing that.
That's not justifiable.
That's not our,
Can I ask a question to you,
problem.
Joan? Can you call maybe you have these numbers, find out what the assessment was for Carnarvon Township as a whole from last year to this year, to see what the increase was there?
The tax collector can get that, yeah. I
Okay,
can get-
yeah, just to see what the increase was between 2022 and 2023, or 2021 and 2022.
and I'd also like to know what a mill, or a tenth of a mill, cause I'm understanding correctly what it was when, and I think you're the one that told me, it was 4/10 of a mill?
I think it was one was 0.3, fire
Okay.
department, 0.03 was all the others. So the tax collector said maybe around 140-ish. I mean, the casino's gonna maybe up that a little bit.
Right.
And then around 12 grand for the 0.03 for like the machinery
Okay,
and the other, like EMS, I think they had one for them.
but at least that way we know
Actually,
where
our
we're at.
increase might be taken care of by the casino's assessment. too,
Right.
and we might
Well, no,
not
no,
have to-
that's what I mean,
Right,
but
yes.
okay, so, in defense of the fire company's doing what we've been trying to do for a very long time, where they wanna get on a 15-year plan, okay? Every 15 years, they wanna try to replace a piece of equipment, okay? By doing it, if you wait till after that 15 years, the value of the vehicle goes down, so they make their best bang for their buck within that 15-year period. So I get that, and that's something that we've always tried to do too. Last year, they budgeted $1 million, but it went over by 9.97 million, so almost another $1 million, because they got a truck that I think is more than what they need, but I'm not a firefighter, so, you know, I just think that you gotta stay within budget, that's.
How many years are they gonna pay for this new truck?
Well, see, how the fire company works that is they do 3 payments. So that would be 3 payments, but now I think they're trying to explore other options and make it into like a 15-year loan, would that be correct, Pete?
The accountant has moved some of that money into some money markets right now, so money that's earmarked for that, making money as we're speaking.
No, I get that. I mean, we currently have a 75-foot ladder truck that's currently 13 years old. So it takes 2 years, by the time you order the truck and sign the papers, it takes about 2 years to get it in. So when we get the delivery of this truck, it's gonna be right around the time this truck's reaching 15 years old. They think when they sell the truck, they ought to be able to get around 500,000 for it. 600 on the high end, but I think, what did you pay for it? Almost $1 million for that one?
Just in a million, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, they're thinking they get 500,000 for it.
Who would wanna buy that though?
Other fire companies.
Well, if it's not good enough for us, why would it be good enough for someone?
Well, because you have other fire companies that are probably not as well off as our fire company that are looking for something half the price of what a new one would cost.
And they don't have the residence or the call area.
Right.
Okay.
So this current truck they're looking at is a 104-foot, okay, but it's set up a little bit differently, which I don't really agree with, but that's here nor there. It's what's called a center mount, okay, so now the ladder, instead of in the back and sticking over the front, the tower starts in the middle and it hangs out the back. So it's a 104-foot, correct?
Yes.
So my question at the meeting was, what do we have that's 104 foot tall? The tallest building we have is the Holiday Inn or a silo.
Kidjoy.
How about the other townships though?
Okay, how high is Kidjoy?
Kidjoy's 4 stories, it's almost the same as,
Okay, but
it's
that's still
higher,
40 feet.
it's still, it's a little higher
40
than.
feet, and we have a 75-foot ladder currently. So we went to 100 foot, but we also have a neighboring municipality, Geigertown, has a 100-foot ladder, right?
Do they?
Well, they do.
They did, I don't know whether they were talking about
Okay, you got
selling.
New Holland has one, who else has one? I mean, we have neighboring surrounding fire companies that have a ladder, so I think it's a little overkill to go that. I mean, I know they want the biggest and best piece of equipment, but I think they need to stay within budget.
That
And not go to
100
5 municipalities and say that we have to pay for the difference. I think that that's wrong.
All right, so Jen will get that information. Park and Rec, see any minutes here? No minutes? And then no request list? Okay, October 26th, trunk or
Now,
treat
while we're on
event.
that, the trunk or treat, okay?
Yes, so is Park and Rec hosting this? Are they the ones?
They're
Okay,
helping
so
me.
it's advertised that Morgantown Ballistics and Michelle Raymond.
no, you guys are on, but you guys are invited to be on it. I don't know if you ever accepted.
Well, either Park and Rec is doing this, I mean, I'm confused.
I already was
That's what
doing
The
it.
actual thing
This
says
was the
Morgantown-
argument 2 years ago, that they wanted to be able to do these things, and we held them back.
I know that I talked to Colt, and Colt said that originally Michelle started this whole thing with the mall over there, and she had all the connections, so she was willing to take it on this year, so they let her organize it. But it is a Carnarvon Township event,
Yeah,
correct?
and we invited both Park and Rec and the township to, as a co-sponsor, but nobody accepted the invitation, Facebook.
Okay, so we're not, so we're providing the gifts that we collected as Carnarvon Township, the gift cards, and you want us to supply insurance for you guys.
I said that's the only thing that I needed was insurance. And I already had it set up before you guys decided you were gonna have it. I had it set up a year ago.
Okay, so
So-
then you need to provide insurance for yourself.
If you guys want to participate in the event, you're welcome to. We need insurance.
I don't
So,
know anybody that wants that, they're not doing anything, right? You did everything.
I'm not doing any,
You're
any,
running the trunk or treat.
I'm running the
It's
trunk or
your
treat.
thing.
I'm not,
Okay.
you guys are the ones who went and got donations. I understand that they want to do a contest for the best trunk. I wasn't going to do that. That wasn't something I had planned on doing at all. So if you guys want to do that, you guys always had a Halloween event. You're welcome to come join mine.
Okay.
That's the one thing
So
I'm.
why would
Is
you
it,
do
Yeah.
is it
Great
our
that you
event
do
or
it.
it's not our event?
No.
We can't insure you
Ballistic
if you're
Oh,
not.
I'm
and
like,
Michelle
it's-
Raymond are the hosts of the-
Well,
They're in. That's it, that's how it's advertised. Park and Rec is not included, other than Park
When I
says he
talked to
wants to
Colt,
be,
Colt said
yes.
that she was organizing it, but it was the township, so
No.
that's all I know.
It's
Because
not.
he was asking me about insurance, I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, then if you guys, then what are you gonna do with all your donations? Then you can't be involved if you're not gonna be a co-host. So you're not gonna have a Halloween event? It's the same
So now
night?
this is in Trunk or Treat, event by Morgantown Arts and Ballistics Center and Michelle Raymond, Classic Automall. Anyone on or off Facebook, welcome to our annual event. That's it.
We
It's not-
invited the Carnarvon Township Park and Rec and the township to be a a host.
Are you saying that you're not gonna allow us to be a part of it if we
Well-
don't insure you?
No, I just said, I was saying you guys got donations.
I mean.
It's like, I don't understand, like,
It's gonna hold an event.
We
Yes,
can't
we
insure you
provide
as an
everything.
individual.
But
So
this
we're
is-
I'm not asking you to.
That's the problem. We can't send insurance over for something we're not even in on.
What for donations?
Yeah, you are in, but you won't accept the invite.
And stuff. Well, I'm not, it's not up to me. Park and Rec was supposed to be involved in this.
Yeah, I invited
Not
both
insurance.
both the Township and Park and Rec to be a co-host. And they have not accepted it yet.
Sandy, when we got notice that there was confusion that Parks and Rec, Carnarvon had nothing to do with it, it was the next day. But apparently, the main township site got an invite, and we were really confused then, because it was like, we don't, and Parks and Rec, nothing is on their Facebook, no
Right, I checked, there's
flyers,
nothing on there, so.
no
No.
advertising.
Well,
Yeah,
I remember an email going out about asking for donations, but I didn't.
Correct, we sent our,
Parks and Rec asked for it.
yes, they asked us to send it out on behalf of Carnarvon Township to collect these gift certificates. We got a grill. But that would be, if Park and Rec wants to run these things, they need to run them.
Yes.
I
Well,
agree.
And it doesn't matter, I mean, Michelle can run
Well,
hers and do what she wants for
I've
the
done this
community.
event for probably about 5 years, 4 years. I did it with the Park and Rec, 1 year, maybe 2.
Yeah, it's not about who you.
But it was
Park
always
and Rec
my
wants to
event,
make.
and I have no problem in, if they want to join us and be co-hosted, I have no problem. But, basically, if you're gonna co-host it, you need to put yourself on there as a co-host. And the
Correct,
insurance
me
we'll
too.
discuss, but the whole thing was, I understand that as long as you guys got, as a host, that wasn't a problem.
Colt was upset, he called me, wanted to know why we're always blocking. We're not blocking, we're trying to do what's best by our citizens. We don't provide insurance for any company.
I'm not defending anybody.
So I just
agree.
wanted-
We're not even advertised on it, so how?
Well, I can't because you don't accept it.
That's what our citizens would. They'll
When
pay
you-
for
when
something
you say-
hosted by
when
a
you say
company.
accept,
and
I don't
then
understand
they
what you
get
mean by
right.
accept it.
To be a
I mean, I know
host.
you were on Park and Rec and you're not
Yeah,
on Park and
yeah.
Rec, but you haven't talked to Park and Rec about this?
The only time after we did the event, I said, I'm like, I'm doing this, if you guys want to be a co-host or something, let me know. That was
So
it.
you knew they were going out and getting donations though?
I don't pay attention to Park and Rec.
You knew they were going out
I-
and getting donations?
I
And you were.
I already
you knew
had
they
a
were gonna
year.
include it?
I had it set up a year ago.
Okay,
So-
so we're back to, what do we wanna do about this?
All right.
Park and Rec can have events, and I'm more than happy to do stuff for them
Absolutely.
and not put a block up.
Right.
But when it comes to situations where it's sticky like this, we don't
Okay,
provide.
We can't
why
have
is it-
co events, we can't have co events and insure it. We
So
can't
if I
do
wanna
it.
have, Star Insurance wants to have a car insurance, car show hosted by.
Okay,
Star
why
Insurance
do you
and
do your own
Insurance
event
Live.
and do it at the same time? I don't really, I'm like,
What's your
it's
question?
like, why, I'm like, it would make more sense to have one event.
We're not
Be-
arguing about having one event, we're arguing about,
Well, that I'm
You're
trying
not
to
wrong.
explain something. Okay,
I don't understand, what are you trying
Okay.
to explain?
all right. I've had it that same day for like 5 years, with and without the township. I still had it. I'm the main contact. So you guys don't want to be a part of the event, so you don't want to be part of the event. So you don't give me insurance, then you return your stuff. If you want to be part of it, then you need to do the event one way or another. And I said, I'm still looking for insurance. If not, I'm going to have to charge people or ask for donations to pay for the
We
insurance.
can't insure you.
Well, yeah, that makes
No,
no sense. That makes no sense at all, so.
No,
who
no,
else
I
has to
said,
pay for it?
no, I said, me and the other girl, we're going to have to provide insurance. I said, I'm like,
So
Colt,
you're
I'm like,
using us for the insurance?
if you want to give it to me, I'm not going to mind it. But that's
She
up to
did
you.
say that if you don't provide the insurance.
I know,
I'm
but
looking
it just
at-
doesn't make any sense
I'm
to
looking at
me.
a flyer here that we're not even advertised on it. So we're gonna be
How-
footing the
what-
bill, we're gonna be footing the
I
bill.
could
with
change
it.
that
Wait,
in a minute.
Let me finish.
Yes.
So, we're gonna be footing the bill for insurance, and then we're doing all the donations. Did you get any donations?
Well, we had no
So
intention
we're
of doing
all
that.
But you're taking the credit and this artesian, whatever it is.
Morgantown, Holistic.
Then, then you guys decide what you want to do, because either way I'm having it, you
Right.
guys decide
We're
what
not
you want to
questioning
do.
you having it.
Yeah,
We're
so
fine
I don't
with
know, you
doing
guys
your event.
decide and let me know, okay?
Why did you get the donations? Why didn't she get the donations?
Because it was always my
Well,
event,
Park-
they
Park
decided,
and Rec were doing this, so we approved it for for letters to go out for it, but Park and Rec's nowhere to be seen.
Because they never
What
communicated.
all do we
Yeah.
got?
Police
What do we
down
got?
there
What
when
all do
this
we
goes
have?
on?
We have
Yeah.
grill
The
for
police
use,
were
and
gonna
then we
go
have
over on
certificates.
their own, and we participated.
There's
Yeah, because they
coupons
should have
from
police.
Wawa,
Uh-huh.
Well,
and
I
then I
can't,
think Walmart gave 50
we went
And
over,
anything for sheets.
Oh.
sheets, I think maybe she's getting
helped out,
something
get
from
candy
them.
out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's not a lot, but it,
We were-
Well, I mean,
donations
if
that
push
we spent
comes
time
to
on.
shove, we can hold on to that and save it for the Christmas event.
And we can explain that,
Okay.
we can send letters to the donators,
okay,
say, listen, we're
okay.
And we thought the coupon that came from Wawa is for hot drinks, and it seemed
Okay.
like maybe.
Hey, love.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
for tree lighting.
So
that'd be
while
awesome.
we're here,
I can hear them all the way back there.
I wanted to talk to Park, give this to Park and Rec. Those buildings over there that we have, why
Those are
can't we
nice for your
do
phone because I was
like
doing a
a
verification
Christmas
thing
in
on
the
my
park and have
account.
a hot chocolate stick, you know what I mean? They're already doing the tree and they're decorating.
Well, we
Why
can-
don't they go bigger and do a walk in the park
Honestly,
and open
because,
those things?
because the board, we all give them a hard time with stuff like this, so.
But is it
It's
a
hard
hard
to try to
time?
find people to do stuff.
But we don't give them a hard time. I mean, this
Yes,
was-
you do. Yes, you do. It's impossible. That's why I
Yeah,
quit.
I'm talking fun. It's not that I want them to do stuff, but when this stuff comes up, we're here to protect this whole township as a whole.
I'm agreeing with you, I'm not disagreeing.
So
For
that
the last
wasn't-
2 year and a
that
half,
wasn't a
we've been
holdup.
asking them to do.
Well, I mean, this
Whatever
is
they
the
wanna do.
third year for the tree lighting, I mean, it's getting
Right, and
there.
nobody ever stops them,
No,
and we agree to get more lights and stuff, but we can't let stuff slide like this is just putting our township out for,
well, like, okay,
Liability
they wanna
issues
do a
stuff.
food truck festival, and, I mean, I know when, trust me, when I started the carnival, I had to jump through a lot of hoops. for the
and where
board
we
members.
left it was, please get us information, what do you plan on doing? Do you
I
plan
know,
on
but
making money
I
or
didn't
not
know.
making
I
money?
didn't know.
But we didn't get
How would I
it.
know? How would I know? Do I got
No,
one
but I
in
mean,
my belt?
we asked them what they plan to do, we wanted something showing us, okay, what's your plan, what do you wanna see in this event? We never got that written out.
Well,
We don't
what
know
they're
what's
looking
going
for, a food truck festival is they're looking for a budget, like, okay, give me $2,500, and I have $2,500 that I can get entertainment and get some stuff to do this stuff.
Right.
I don't know if, you know, as for the carnival, it's a little different, cause we are self-sustaining, I don't know, like, this is just an event, a one-day event. You know, they're just looking for a budget that they can get an entertainer or get something, you know? Movie night, I talked to them about movie nights, we've talked about that for many years.
Yeah.
You know, going out and budgeted in for a projector. And I know we have to get a license to even show the movies, you know, but we talked about getting that permit, you know, what's it gonna cost to get that permit? Other townships do it, once a month over the summer months, do a movie night. I
Yeah,
mean, we
they
have a
were doing it
stage up
down-
there,
they
set
were
it up
doing
on
it
there.
down in
We
the
talked
other
about
room.
that 5
You
years
know,
ago.
and it's just,
As far as
I
that
mean, it's
vendor,
just,
the food trucks, nobody turned them down, we just didn't have any information. They just said they wanted to
well,
have
and
food
it's
trucks,
just,
okay,
you
for
only
what,
have
when?
certain people that wanna do certain things, you know, and it's just, it's a lot,
So if
you
they
know?
Well,
can't
here's-
get together and bring it to us,
I
how
think
can we
what
approve
Sandy's
it?
saying is, and I think I get it, is, so they'll come into the meeting, for instance, and they'll say, we want $2,500 expense list to have a food truck party.
That's it, nothing
Yeah.
else. I mean, you have,
What are we doing with the
I
20, are
can't
we
answer
paying
that.
people
Right, and
to
you
come?
can't-
I can't
Are we-
answer
all
that.
we
what are
asked
we
them is
doing?
to bring it to us, so we
Cause I even said
can
it's
make a
budget time
decision.
now, I mean, if you guys wanna do this kinda stuff, you need to come to the board and say, okay, we spend this amount of money with our egg hunt, our Halloween thing, and
Yep.
our Christmas thing. I need X amount of dollars budgeted for that. We wanna do a food truck festival, and this is what we're thinking, a band, blah, 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 we're thinking $2,500, and this is what we're doing, okay? We wanna do a movie night,
That's a
it's gonna
plan.
cost this for a movie screen and whatever.
Yep.
You need to give us these numbers.
Yes.
And I told Park and Rec, I said the same thing like I tell Keith. You guys put in your budget list, it's a wish list, okay?
Right.
And we are the board, we'll be the one
Because
to
with that
be,
stage over there, they could actually have the movies probably with a drop down.
I
We
know,
could
that's
have our
what we've
own
already
screen.
talked about,
Okay.
but I mean, I can't do everything. I spend 6 months on that carnival and I'm burnt out, I'm
Okay,
done,
but,
I'm done,
and I'm not
done.
saying,
But that's
I'm just
not your
saying,
job.
that's
No,
not
no,
your
no, I
job.
get that, but I'm just saying that
But
they
we
need
can't
to come
make
back.
decisions if we don't have all the information, and we're not,
I
I don't
agree.
wanna stand in their way, I want them to do stuff like this.
I
But they
agree.
have to bring it to us organized and give us an idea of what we're voting to give money for.
So
That's
this was
not-
not through Parks and Rec, you did this as a resident,
I've done this for the last like 5
but
years.
as a resident?
Yes.
Or as part of Parks and
No,
Rec?
I did it
Right,
on my
that's
own.
fine.
Parks and Rec
She
should
can do
have
that.
done,
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Park and Rec can do their own or
Or-
not do their, I don't care, it's
but
up
they
to
should have
them.
come to you, yes, that's right.
So I wasn't trying to hold them up, I thought I did the right thing by waiting
And we're
till we
not
talked to
knocking,
this.
we're not knocking
No,
either.
no,
no,
I
it
mean,
just-
It
I-
started in the back parking lot here, and you took it over to the mall.
No,
and-
well, I always did in the back part. I always did at the mall. We did the year that Elverson couldn't do the
We did it in
parade.
the back parking lot the
Okay,
first
so
year.
I think we're in agreement that we can't
No, I
provide
always
insurance
say back
permit
there.
for anyone other than Park and Rec event. It has to be something Park and Rec is hosting. They have to be the ones hosting it.
Because we're only gonna
So
be
if they're not
co-hosts.
involved in it, then we're not providing. And even if they're just donating money to you, they can't provide insurance for you.
I was offered them to be co-hosts, but, you know, you won't, you know, I
They
can't,
didn't.
oh, I offered and you guys won't accept it, so.
Okay. All right,
You
so
don't get involved, that's all.
we'll move on.
It's gonna cost us $200, so we'll have to ask for donations that day. I would have done that ahead of time.
No September meeting. Water and sewer reports. Engineers report. 160 Willow Glen Drive. Did we
That
do that?
one's, we're on hold on that until we can get a video
Okay.
for the pipes that's, receiving the water.
Kim Dental escrow release.
King Dental and Sheds Unlimited, they are not ready for an escrow release to be discussed tonight.
Solicitors report.
Well,
Oh, you have something else?
just to let you know, the street work, we're not looking to do the retainage right now on the repair they did on Maple. There's a concern that it's not draining like it should. I went out the day after a storm and the water was gone, but I put them on notice that we're just waiting until we see another storm and really get an idea what's going on out there. So there's still,
It's still puddle.
there's still, I think it's a matter of how quick it dries up and is it quick enough? That's really I think we gotta look at, but we put them on hold.
It was 5 foot away from an inlet, and there's plenty of fall down to that inlet. And I called Keith that day and I went out and it was still,
Well,
I'm talking, it was a puddle
and
8 foot long.
But to your point, we shot it, we took the equipment out there and shot it, and they have 350 feet, 3/4 of an inch fall, so it can, but it's barely a 2%. I'm not giving them any outs on it, I'm just saying, I just wanna see that it's doing the best it can.
What did we pay for that?
I don't remember,
It
it's
was-
probably at least 50 grand for the whole
Exactly.
street.
That's where I'm going. So we spent 50 grand, better drain correctly.
No, I'm just saying that we're not looking to replace it until we know.
They've
for
already
sure.
cut it up once,
Yeah.
so.
The only other thing, that the road inventory, we finished that. That was in the engineer's report. So if you see it by email, it's got the colored breakdown to just give you a better idea. It's in order of worst to best. This is really giving you an idea of, when you're looking at the streets, how best to try to lay out what your plan is going into it. Doesn't mean it has to be there, but I added 2 lines that kind of tell you the top 10 and the top 20. I think that's really something that, when you're looking at, we already have roads that are pretty set and ready to overlay, some of those are in there, but there's more details. Some of the things we found when we went through this is, some of these streets aren't on liquid fuels right now, some of them are, kind of in between the municipal boundary with, Honeybrook, that we have to do a little more research on when it comes, but that kind of stuff really pops up when you get a list like this, but again, it's done, it's complete, if you wanna look at that, have any questions on it, but I think really when we start setting streets, it's gonna be helpful.
Could you do Trappers Run this week? I'm leaving for Colorado tonight, and then are we even on there? Yeah, we are, okay. Ours is kind of
The
bad
report would be
too.
easier to
Good,
print
type
out
10.
color.
It's in
Which
there.
report?
Yeah.
The ones Scott
The
just said,
engineers report, the road.
The ones that are,
Oh, yeah, yes.
everybody would like one printed out in color.
Yes,
Could you
that would be
print them
nice,
out
so
so
that
you
you
can
can
see only
see.
color?
Hard copy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
great to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Eric.
All the action items have already been taken care of. We do have one subject for executive session, that's related to, anticipated litigation.
Sorry, under sewer authority, I recently got a letter from the authority, they want to appoint someone.
Okay.
So, is the board okay with me doing a resolution then for your next meeting to do the appointment? Sometimes you have candidates like from the meeting, if you wanna meet them, but, it's for a candidate that's gonna fill a position that's currently vacant, or, needs to be
Is this
filled.
Grant's position or no?
No idea. Kranz's position's been filled
Oh, has it?
times 2, they hired 2 guys on
And
it.
this is for the water authority.
Right, it's for the
Okay, I mean,
board.
we really don't have,
So if you're okay
So I would
with doing
say-
a resolution, I'll do it right
is everyone
away.
okay for getting that ready for the next?
Yeah,
Okay. Thank
What,
you.
can't they make the resolution and submit
No,
it?
no, they, you guys are above, yeah, we oversee that.